Chapter 1551, Sweep Away Many Clans. Chapter 1551, Sweep Away Many Clans. Soul Clan's territory in Sea Domain of Nihility. A brilliant light door suddenly emerged above the cities of the Soul Clan. After a while, that light door materialized. A man walked out of that door. It was Shi Yang. The energy he got from swallowing Neptune, Keith, and Oliver wasn't enough to reach the upper limit to break through again. However, it was enough to refine another absolute beginning original symbol. This original symbol formed an archaic symbol called shuttle, which was a heavenly gateway in his space power Upanishad. It was an extreme, supernatural ability, a new cognition in space power Upanishad. With the shuttle, he could use his sharp sense to grasp the locations of so many territories. He could use his space energy to link to them and create a gateway that he could use freely. He had used this newly achieved supernatural ability to get to the Soul Clan's base deep in the Sea Domain of Nihility from Musing Rain territory. His purpose was simple: slaughter to take lives and soul altars of the Soul Clan warriors to feed his soul energy and increase his god power to enter second sky of territory ancestor realm faster. Shi Yang had discussed with Zi Yarrow about the Absolute Beginning era and the Absolute Beginning Gateway for a long time. They tacitly understood that they had to increase their power to get to the entrance of the Absolute Beginning Gateway together. The Absolute Beginning Gateway hid the ultimate secret of the earth and heaven at their very beginning. It had the deepest imprint of the Great Path. Rumors say that the way and the direction to cultivate after the territory ancestor realm was behind that door. According to the rumors, Absolute Beginning was the last realm after Territory Ancestor Realm. At that realm, the expert would have formidable powers that could create the universe from thin air using his imagination. Absolute Beginning creatures had slaughtered each other to reach Absolute Beginning Realm. They wanted to take their ancestors' blood, which would eventually enable them to replace Absolute Beginning's role. Unfortunately, the Absolute Beginning era ended and no one ever made it to that step. The new era had created third sky of territory ancestor realm experts like Sauron. Yuan Zhu had survived to seek for the Absolute Beginning Gateway. Desolate and Devour had awakened. It became more possible to open the Absolute Beginning Gateway. Parties were accumulating power to do that. They had to improve their power quickly. They had to reach the peak realm to counter with any fierce change that could happen in any minute. Thus, he had to do that at all cost. The Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan were the four strongest races in this time. When he was in the Sea Domain of Nihility, they had chased him around to kill him. They never wanted to leave him alone. They wanted to kill him to take the power Upanishad symbol tower. Time flew quickly. It had been 100 years and the four great clans were still strong. However, Shi Yang wasn't a weak warrior who they could bully. Using lives of the four races in the Sea Domain of Nihility could help him accumulate energy quickly. It was his priority now. The Soul Clan was his first stop. Hovering above the territory of the Soul Clan, he quieted down for a long moment. All of a sudden, he roared and transformed to his Absolute Beginning body, the ferocious giant whose head touched the sky. A terrifying energy that could smash the entire world emitted instantly and shadowed the heart of each Soul Clan warriors, hovering in each corner of the sky. The massive black holes appeared above the territory of the Soul Clan like massive demon mouths. The energy that diffused from them was earth-destroying. Soul control, death, corrosion, and dark power Upanishad appeared as the islands hovering in the sky of the Soul Clan. The islands created by white bones fumed the shattering energy as they arrayed in the world-destroying formation. Shi Yang stood among the islands and listened to the terrified screams of the Soul Clan warriors. He roared and howled, "Neptune pursued me for the power Upanishad symbol tower. The Soul Clan wanted my head with big rewards. Today, I'm here to see who can take the head off my neck." Boom. Countless massive asteroids fell from the void. Tens of thousands of them like seething sea bombarded the Soul Clan's territory under the star power Upanishad's control. Flaming meteors. The Co-Soul used the power Upanishad's ability and the heaven flame to cast an attack. Flames moved like a flowing river of red iron and fell from the sky. Destructive power. Curtain of darkness. Desperate heart. Shi Yang screamed continuously. His evil energies were like earth-shattering tornadoes that stormed towards the Soul Clan's territory. Masses of darkness landed and swallowed all the lights. Under the power of despair, each member of the Soul Clan was so hopeless and fearful. They had no hope. The Soul Clan had been haughtily swaggering around the sea domain of Nihility and the other territories. They never thought that one day, a brute like Shi Yang could break the protection of the Soul Clan's territory to massacre the Soul Clan warriors. The 8 great, evil powers, space, star, fire, and life were controlled smoothly and skillfully. Members of the Soul Clan fell one after another. However, the members of the Soul Clan below King God realm magically survived the savage, ruthless destruction. Quite the contrary, the High Realm warriors were targets of this genocide. Warriors at Original God realm, Ethereal God realm, Incipient God realm, and Immortal realm were attacked by evil energies in the sky. Shi Yang's red eyes gazed at them and they fell one after another. Anyway, the Low Realm warriors stopped providing a lot of energy to Shi Yang when they died. Only the strongest warriors could supply energy that could help Shi Yang change in nature. At this moment, Serene Prison of the Soul Clan wasn't here. Neptune was dead. They still had another territory ancestor, but he had gone to empty land and left no territory ancestor to protect the clan. The Soul Clan didn't have the power to counterattack. They passively endure Shi Yang's slaughter. The current era had a long history of millions of years. The 7 great clans had to accumulate for a long time to get to their current foundation and power in this sea of stars. No one dared to massacre people in the territories of the 7 clans. Never before. Today, it was the first time in history. Just like a bloodthirsty demon, Shi Yang landed on the Soul Clan's territories and deployed his bloody washing to the high echelon members of the Soul Clan and swallow them in the end. As the Low Realm warriors were screaming horribly, Shi Yang's slaughter lasted for several hours before he disappeared strangely. The Black Demon Clan was next, followed by the Ancient Monster Clan and Devouring Clan. Shi Yang didn't spare these 3 clans. He continued his genocide. The situations in the other 3 clans were the same. Their strongest experts weren't present when they attacked. Sauron had invited them to somewhere to discuss something discreetly. They didn't know that their races were slaughtered bloodily. Shi Yang had visited the Black Demon Clan and the Ancient Monster Clan, and killed tens of thousands of experts at Ethereal God Realm, Incipient God Realm, and Immortal Realm. Eventually, he went to Devouring Clan. In that dark world, he had slaughtered the members of the Devouring Clan and used the Devouring Power Upanishad eating up each warrior. The Devouring Clan's headquarters had a deep sea where a secret place was hidden. Devour was cultivating there. Shi Yang slaughtering the Devouring Clan had awakened Devour. He was very furious, indeed. Devour raised a massive abyss to cover the land. However, as soon as he came, he found flashes from a light door. Shi Yang slowly disappeared through that door. The land of the Devouring Clan was left with countless corpses, asteroids, and countless flaming holes. Shortly after, Shi Yang damaged the Devouring Clan and used the supernatural ability of space power Upanishad to leave before Devour came. Devour roared and hissed crazily. Looking at the corpses of his fellows, his anger seemed to pierce through barriers and enter the depths of Shi Yang's soul. Wait for me to make the next breakthrough, you will be my target. Shi Yang's soul energy came from nowhere and hovered in the void above the Devouring Clan and in Devour's mind. In his black hole form, Devour felt Shi Yang's soul message, which enraged him furthermore. At this moment, he found that his resentment for Shi Yang had surpassed what he had for Desolate. A light door emerged on the land of the Phantom Clan. Shi Yang slowly walked out and went to the Phantom Clan's holy land. He appeared from thin air above this fairyland. Releasing the soul consciousness, he found Mai Ji shortly after. After a thought, he appeared by Mai Ji's palace. Shi Yang. Mai Ji was so happy. I'm here to make you an absolute beginning original symbol. This time, I got a big harvest. When I finish absorbing them, I can try to reach second sky of territory ancestor realm. I think I can also refine 1 or 2 original symbols. Shi Yang told her his purpose directly. Is Montesi here? Sauron invited her somewhere. I heard that the strongest experts of the 7 clans were invited by Sauron, Mai Ji explained, her eyes bright. You said you got a big harvest. How was it? I heard that you had a big fight with Yuan Zhu in Wavy River Star area, but I don't know the details. Did you know that I've just been to the Soul Clan, Black Demon Clan, Devouring Clan, and Ancient Monster Clan? Shi Yang grinned. No, I haven't received any news. Mai Ji shook her head. I think you will be busy soon when you receive information of the bloody massacre in their homelands. Although those areas didn't gather all the members of the four clans, there is no doubt that most of their experts cultivated there. I've offended them all. Later on, it will be extremely deadly, said Shi Yang without actual concern. Mai Ji discolored in fear. You had massacred the homelands of all four clans? Gosh. Did you do that? She couldn't believe it. What they gave me, I will repay the same. Shi Yang's face was cold and heartless as he spoke indifferently. It's almost impossible for the top warriors of the four clans to kill me. I'm sure I won't lose even if I have to fight alone. What is there to be afraid of? After I refine the energy I got this time, I will reach second sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. Serene Prison, Beverly, and Edgar can't kill me even if they join hands. His confidence left Mai Ji dumbstruck. She couldn't get a hold of herself. Chapter 1552, The Title of God of Slaughter. Chapter 1552, The Title of God of Slaughter, Empty Land. Inside a majestic, old city in Empty Land, the leading experts of the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Black Demon Clan, and Ancient Monster Clan were gathering. Serene Prison of Soul Clan, Edgar of Devouring Clan, Rupert of Black Demon Clan, and Beverly of Ancient Monster Clan were the 4 of the 10 great territory ancestors. In this infinite universe, they were the peerless, famous experts. With just a stomp, they could shake an entire star area. At this moment, they were taking their apprentices and experts in their forces to Ancient Monster Clan's city. They were discussing the missing case of Neptune and the others. Neptune, Keith, Labete, and Oliver were at first sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. The members of their clans ranked right after them. Neptune and the others went missing after they came to Wavy River Star area to chase after Shi Yang, Zi Yarrow, and Yuan Zhu. After that battle, the territory barrier of Wavy River Star area was torn. The entire territory was shaken. At the same time, they got no information about Shi Yang, Zi Yarrow, and Yuan Zhu. Everybody was amazed and tried to guess the details of that battle. Sauron is about to arrive at Empty Land. He invited us to go to the Absolute Beginning Gateway. The Power Upanishad symbol tower in Shi Yang's hands is the key to opening the gateway. As long as we get the Power Upanishad symbol tower, I'm sure we can open the Absolute Beginning Gateway. Beverly of the Ancient Monster Clan was still mesmerizing. However, her eyes looked very cold. It's unbelievable that he has the Absolute Beginning blood and refined the Absolute Beginning body. He's tougher to deal with now. I don't know where he's hiding. It's not easy to find him. After a while, Montesi and Hero will come. I'm sure that they know Shi Yang's location. We will ask them then. Serene Prison smiled, his face relaxed. Would they tell us the truth? Snorted Edgar. Opening the Absolute Beginning Gateway benefits everyone. Montesi and Hero aren't exceptions. They would at least invite Shi Yang to go with them, replied Serene Prison with a smile. I know that Sauron has promoted something so Shi Yang could get the Absolute Beginning body. Don't worry. He definitely has a plan. Mentioning Sauron, the experts looked unnatural. Sauron was at third sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. With a human body, it was really thrilling to know he could cultivate to such a level. It puzzled and somehow humiliated the ones who deemed themselves as the high-echelon races. Sauron had initiated the Absolute Beginning Gateway thing. They had just followed him passively, which made the self-important experts like them feel awkward. Swoosh! A water current congregated right amid the 4 experts. As people were so surprised, the water current slowly shaped Yuan Zhu's body. This body was somehow between real and an illusion, which was like a bubble in the water that would break when someone touched it. Seeing Yuan Zhu's body materialize, the others screamed, "Precursor Yuan Zhu? Precursor Yuan Zhu, what happened in the battle in Wavy River Star area?" Serene Prison pulled himself together first. He pondered and then asked, his face stern. Yuan Zu's clone became clearer. He wore a tender, hypocritical face and sighed, "I can't explain briefly. I can't believe that Shi Yang has become so brutal." He joined hands with an absolute beginning creature and killed almost all the experts there. Neptune, Keith, Oliver, Lebit, Xiao Lai, and Jiao. "I'm afraid they couldn't escape death." He pulled a sorrowful face. "I tried my best to stop them. Unfortunately, Hui is so powerful." Shi Yang's power had increased frantically. "I don't know why." Moreover, Forefather Dragon Lizard was with them. "I couldn't resist the three of them and protect Neptune and the others at the same time. I had to run away." Yuan Zu, the main character of that battle, had appeared after a long time. He had distorted the truth and made up the details of the battle. Serene Prison, Edgar, and the others shook their heads hard, their faces disbelieving. Neptune, Keith, Oliver, and Lebit were all experts at First Sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. Shi Yang killed them all. It had ignited a flame of anger in them in just a split second. Those four were elite warriors, the foundation and pillars of their clans. Their deaths were a great loss to their clans, which had reduced their focus massively. Shi Yang had challenged the four clans that were the real overlords of this sea of stars. "Precursor Yuan Zu, are you sure that they were all dead?" Rupert asked in a low-pitched realm, his eyes sparkling with brutal light. He looked like a beast that was about to lose control. After Shi Yang reached the Territory Ancestor Realm, he needed a lot of energy to refill his god power. With the Devouring Power Upanishad, he could do it quickly. To him, only the Territory Ancestors could help him increase his energy fast. He came to empty land and attacked Feral just to accumulate energy. Yuan Zu scanned through the crowd. He had thrown every sin on Shi Yang. He wanted to ignite the flame of anger from the four classes on Shi Yang. He wanted to instigate the experts to kill Shi Yang at any cost. However, he was just doing extra work. Because shortly after, the messengers of the four clans fluttered in with news. "Chief, big trouble. Our Soul Clan's homeland was massacred. Several thousand fellows were killed. They were all at Ethereal God Realm, Incipient God Realm, and Immortal Realm," reported a Soul Clan expert who was shivering. Hearing him, all the experts standing here discolored in fear. They couldn't believe what they had just heard. The Soul Clan, one of the 7 great clans, were hunted to the last member right on their ancestral land. Who could be so fierce and brave? It's Shi Yang. He's transformed into a savage John. He used the Devouring Power Upanishad to create dozens of black holes and swallow our fellows, continued the messenger. Serene Prison, Edgar, and Beverly paled. Yuan Zu was dumbstruck too. Yuan Zu had hidden for years in this era and covered his identity and motivation. As he had reached Third Sky of Territory Ancestor Realm, he was much stronger than he used to be in the Absolute Beginning era. However, he didn't dare to provoke any race among the 7 races as he was afraid of creating a situation that he couldn't handle. Unexpectedly, Shi Yang had acted unscrupulously. He didn't care about the consequences or effects he could create. He had slaughtered the Soul Clan. Serene Prison, can you stay idle and forgive him as it has gone to this? Beverly was having fun on the other's misfortune. He has touched the Soul Clan. Maybe the other clans will bear the same disaster, reminded Yuan Zu. I think you guys should contact your clan to defend at all costs. His words reminded Beverly, Edgar, and Rupert. They didn't hesitate a lot and immediately prepared to contact their clans. However, as they were prepping, their subordinates waiting outside screamed and ran to them. Chief, someone attacked our ancestral land. So many of us were killed. Chief, many members of our clan were slaughtered. Shi Yang had slaughtered our territories. The members of the Ancient Monster Clan, Devouring Clan, and Black Demon Clan screamed, shivering and stammering from the news that they just received. Beverly, Edgar, and Rupert were outraged. They couldn't exchange information about the Absolute Beginning Gateway anymore. The 4 Profound Realm experts left empty land immediately and returned to their ancestral lands at their max speed. The news about the genocides in the 4 clans was disclosed. Instantly, the entire universe was exploding. All races were startled. The Soul Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, Devouring Clan, and Black Demon Clan had been the overlords in this world for tens of thousands of years. And now, their ancestral lands were intruded and their fellows were massacred. It had never happened in their history. Everybody recognized that this world was about to change drastically. Shi Yang's brutal name had spread to each territory so rapidly that no one could stop it. Everybody was scared. The most malicious ones thought that they couldn't be that sinister and fierce. The warriors of small forces that used to be bullied by those four clans danced and yelled cheerily. The entire universe was shaken because of Shi Yang's mad retaliation. Within dozens of thousands of years, the one who was brave enough to provoke the four clans had never appeared. And now, a god of slaughter named Shi Yang was crazily killing the members of the four clans. Rumors also said that Neptune and Keith were dead and Shi Yang's slaughter still continued. Shi Yang's title of god of slaughter came to be known in every race and among billions of creatures at the fastest speed. His brutal name had surpassed the 10 great territory ancestors. He was the bringer of change in this era who could shift the general situation of this era. A ruin with so many asteroids in a territory belonged to the mysterious Sky Clan. Zi Yarrow was moving around and searching for the absolute beginning blood crystal and the dark energy crystal. After Han Tian, Judy, and Dragon Lizard had taken her here, they waited for her outside. Including this ruin, they had taken Zi Yarrow to 7 vestiges and ruins. They were all places that the mysterious Sky Clan had found after dozens of years. They assumed that they were the vestiges from absolute beginning era. Every time they came, Zi Yarrow would get in there alone and she told them nothing about her harvest. After a short time, she would get out of the place and ask Han Tian or Judy to take her to another vestige. This place was one of the 2 last vestiges that the mysterious Sky Clan knew. Han Tian and Judy had complicated thoughts as they silently waited for Zi Yarrow outside. Suddenly, Judy frowned. A strange crystal was slowly spinning in her sea of consciousness. Soul messages came from the crystal and hovered in Judy's sea of consciousness. At first, Judy didn't notice them. Shortly after, she got scared out of her wits. She couldn't help but scream, "Gosh!" Han Tian and Forefather Dragon Lizard turned to look at her, their countenances puzzled. After a long time, Judy checked the divine light inside the vestige and took a deep breath, her voice trembling. "You guys can't imagine what earth-shaking things Shi Yang had done after he bid us farewell. What happened?" Han Tian was surprised. Judy took a deep breath to stabilize her emotion. After he left, he went to the ancestral lands of the Soul Clan, Black Demon Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Devouring Clan. As Serene Prison, Rupert, Edgar, and Beverly are on empty land, he seized the chance to massacre the warriors in their homelands. Those 4 clans don't have a ethereal god realm, incipient god realm, or immortal realm in their headquarters anymore. As Han Tian and Forefather Dragon Lizard were dumbstruck, Judy bitterly smiled. "It's our fortune that we came to the Heavenly Eye Clan personally to become Shi Yang and Zi Yarrow's alliance. Otherwise, our mysterious Sky Clan would have become one of his target. Gosh! He almost killed all the experts the Soul Clan, Black Demon Clan, Devouring Clan, and Ancient Monster Clan have nourished for tens of thousands of years." When Han Tian and Forefather Dragon Lizard listened to Judy, they felt frozen as if there was a cold air expanding from their hearts to every cell in their bodies. Chapter 1553, The Great Race War. Chapter 1553, The Great Race War. The title of God of Slaughter spread out in every territory in the vast sea of stars. During this time, the experts of every race told each other about a name, Shi Yang. The Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan turned frantic. All the surviving experts were deployed with Serene Prison, Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert to seek for Shi Yang everywhere. The 4 clans had joined hands. They set big rewards for anyone who could disclose Shi Yang's location. They promised to gift an entire territory as a reward, a whole natural territory. The Sea of Stars became clamorous because of this. Everybody knew the drastic catastrophe that had happened to the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan. Shi Yang's homicidal mania and retaliation had enraged the experts of the 4 clans. At this moment, the absolute beginning gateway wasn't attractive to them anymore. They crossed their hearts to crush Shi Yang into powder first. Serene Prison, Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert wanted to force Montesi and Hero to tell them Shi Yang's whereabouts and the planet that he had brought with him. Thus, they didn't hesitate to declare war against the Phantom Clan and the Whitebone Clan. If Montesi and Hero didn't give them an answer that satisfied them, they would attack the two clans. For the absolute beginning gateway, Sauron had gathered the leading experts of those clans to discuss, but he couldn't calm the situation. His words couldn't ease Serene Prison and the others' wrath. Thus, they had to pause the absolute beginning gateway's affair. Seeking for Shi Yang was the most urgent priority, and the fixation in Serene Prison, Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert's hearts. At the same time, Yuan Zhu continuously showed himself and stated that he was with Serene Prison and the other three. He was on the same side with the four clans. They all wanted to kill Shi Yang. The Sea of Stars that had been peaceful for years now stirred up. The members of the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan began to depart to the territories of the Phantom Clan and the Whitebone Clan. They were ready to war. Montesi and Hero got news of the horrible loss that the four clans had to bear. As they knew the others had lost so many experts, they weren't afraid of this alliance of the four clans. They also ordered their clans to prepare for the coming war. Among the 7 great clans, the mysterious Sky Clan didn't have a move because they couldn't contact Han Tien and Judy yet. The mysterious Sky Clan hadn't suffered from Shi Yang's slaughter. It had become a knot in Edgar's and Beverly's mind. They guessed that Han Tien and Judy had formed a secret agreement with Shi Yang. And that actually happened. The entire Sea of Stars was boiling because of Shi Yang's frenzied slaughter. All the races were hurrying to prepare for the coming war. They wanted to seize the chance to expand the territory. As Serene Prison and Beverly had their fire of wrath burning harder, the atmosphere in many clans was very tense. The war would burst out in any minute. Phantom Clan. In a secret chamber situated deep underground, Shi Yang closed his eyes and breathed steadily. The unscrupulous aura like white mist fumed from his acupuncture points and filled the secret chamber. Mai Ji was sitting next to her. She was naked and sitting cross-legged next to Shi Yang. Her shining, creamy body was frosting and emitting a cold air that was chilly to the bone. After a long time, Mai Ji woke up. Her bright eyes had filled with utter joy. Deep in her soul altar, an original symbol hovered above a snowflake. It was a new original symbol that Shi Yang had refined for her. Creating a soul hand, she fondled the original symbol represented her ice power Upanishad and felt the supernatural ability frost she just got. Under the effects of her soul consciousness, the wall and space in this secret chamber sounded of strange cracking noises. Shortly after, the entire world, including all matters and air, froze and created a whole piece of crystal ice. It was an ultimate supernatural power carved in her original symbol she had just got. Previously, Shi Yang had quietly gone to the Phantom Clan without an eye noticing. He came to find her. They had crazy moments in this secret chamber. Then, he refined the energy and stabilized the negative emotions, using the power Upanishad symbol tower to refine an ice original symbol. Mai Ji so thrilled when she got the original symbol. With this original symbol and the god power given by Shi Yang, her realm had reached the bottleneck. She needed a short time to accumulate and comprehend her new supernatural ability. Afterward, she could break through to second sky of territory ancestor realm. She couldn't even dream of this fast progress before. But now, she got it all. Mai Ji didn't have time to think about Shi Yang's slaughter in the four clans. At this moment, she needed to fuse the original symbol with her soul altar to stabilize her power Upanishad. Then, she would have time to think about the other matters. However, at this moment, she got messages from Montesi. Montesi had called her several times asking her to get out of the secret chamber. With passion in her eyes, she beheld Shi Yang. She understood that he had harvested an enormous amount of energy and that he had just spent a small proportion on refining her an original symbol. She knew that he needed more time to absorb all the energy. She believed that when he woke up, he would reach an unimaginable level. Mai Ji stood up and looked at the ambiguous bruises and marks on her body embarrassedly. She put on proper clothes. After a flash, She disappeared from the chamber and reappeared in the meeting hall that the Phantom Clan often used to discuss important matters. As soon as she walked out, her face changed immediately. What happened? There were many faces that she didn't often meet. They were the owners of different territories or the chiefs of clans dependent on the Phantom Clan. There weren't many times when they came to the headquarters of the Phantom Clan in hundreds or even thousands of years. Today, they all gathered and wore stern faces. Montesi, Cantesi, and Fandelei were also present. All of them looked solemn. Seeing her, Montesi sighed in relief and said, "You took a long cultivating session this time. Anyway, you got out on time, right before the war." War? Maiji was puzzled. What war? The Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan want to declare war against the Whitebone Clan and our Phantom Clan. Previously, we wouldn't dare to fight against them. But today, it's a good opportunity. Montesi sneered. Shi Yang had seized the chance when the leading experts of the four clans were away to massacre their lands. They had to bear a severe loss this time. The power of a single clan can't be our enemy. Since Dracula and his wife are back, the Whitebone Clan is more powerful, anyway. Our two clans can join hands. Our combined force can resist the other four clans. Why is that? Maiji didn't understand the situation yet. They want us to hand over Shi Yang. They demand to know the coordinates of Cloud Mist territory. They want to kill Shi Yang at any cost and destroy Cloud Mist territory to avenge their fellows who Shi Yang killed. Montesi wore a cold face. Let alone the fact that I don't know where Shi Yang is, even if I did know, I wouldn't tell them. This war is interesting to me. It's good to fight. Perhaps, after this war, the Phantom Clan will become the strongest leading clan in this entire sea of stars. I had a premonition that both sides will have to bear losses in this war. "I don't agree with you," said a beautiful, slim girl standing by Montesi. She frowned and continued in a gloomy voice, "We shouldn't declare war against the four clans because of Shi Yang. It will decrease the power of our own clan and the four clans altogether. We'd better tell them Cloud Mist territory's location. Just let them battle against each other." She was Cantesi, another second sky of territory ancestor realm, Montesi's blood sister. In the Phantom Clan, she had a position as high as Montesi. "I'm not jealous that Shi Yang had taken Cloud Mist territory. However, I also think that we shouldn't join this battle this early," said Fandelei by Cantesi, his face sincere. "Once it starts, it will be hard to end it. If the 7 clans are going to decline because of this battle, it will be good for no one." Pausing for a while, Fandelei looked at his fellows and those who were dependent on his clan, and said seriously, "It's related to every clan. I think all of us here have the right to decide. We can use the number of territories as the number of votes. Let's vote to see if we should fight or not. If more vote for no war, we will give up on the aliens in Cloud Mist territory. I think the Soul Clan and the others only want Shi Yang's fellows. They won't attack Cloud Mist territory itself." He, of course, chose Cantesi's side. Everybody knew that he hated Shi Yang for shooing him out of Cloud Mist territory and taking Skyfall Star River, which he thought should belong to him. However, he said the truth. The owners of the other territories and the leaders of the dependent forces agreed with Fandelei's suggestion. They wanted to vote to decide this. Montesi was filled with anger in this boisterous crowd. She had agreed with Hero to join hands with them and fight against the 4 clans. If those people didn't want to do that, she would lose her face as she had gone back on her words. At this moment, she envied Hero. The members of the Whitebone Clan were always united. They didn't take sides in discussing matters like this. After they made an agreement, the entire Whitebone Clan had begun to prepare for the coming war. And her Phantom Clan was still discussing noisily if they wanted to fight or not. As the great army of the 4 clans was approaching, if they didn't prepare anything, they would fall into a passive situation. "Shi Yang is here," Maiji suddenly said and pointed at the ground. "He's refining his energy in my secret chamber. Moreover, I got an original symbol from him. I'm not far away from second sky of territory ancestor realm anymore. I have only one question. If you betray him, the Phantom Clan will become the next target. Our homeland will be trampled. Have you ever considered this consequence? Her words had shaken all the members of the Phantom clan. The chiefs of the dependent clans couldn't help but look at the ground, their faces filled with deep fear. In this short period, Shi Yang's brutal name had spread far and wide. The god of slaughter had terrified all races. He dared to massacre the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan to the last member. What else could he do in this world? Chapter 1554, Je n'ai eu. Chapter 1554, Je n'ai eu. My G's words silenced all the warriors in the hall. The atmosphere was so quiet that they could even hear the clinking sound of a needle falling on the ground. Those people came from different territories. Many of them were leading experts that controlled an entire area or dependent clans. They had power. More or less, they got the news. They knew the reasons why the Sea of Stars boiled up and the wrath of the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan. Just like what my G had said, Shi Yang had slaughtered the ancestral lands of the 4 clans. What else did he dare not to do? Montesi was pleased with the subduing effects provided by Shi Yang's title of God of Slaughter. She smiled and then nodded to my G. After that, she glanced at her sister Cantasi. Cantasi wore a cold face. Her eyes didn't convey any significant emotion. Similarly, Fan de Lei didn't utter a word. I suggest that we prepare for the war while waiting for Shi Yang to wake up, said Montesi after a while. Her eyes with divine light raked through the crowd as she spoke calmly. The 4 clans are all damaged badly. Shi Yang is their main target. We just need to say that we don't know anything. If they still want a battle, we aren't wrong in that case. Fighting isn't a big deal. Are we afraid of them? The group that had tilted on Fan de Lei and Cantasi now recognized that Shi Yang was the final villain. They were frightened instantly as they were afraid that they would have to face Shi Yang's bloody revenge. They weren't as strong as the 4 clans. They couldn't resist one wave of attack from Shi Yang. Perhaps, their entire race was going to go extinct because of Shi Yang's rage. Thus, after weighing the pros and cons, they agreed with Montesi's plan. They were going to prepare for the war and observe the situation while waiting for Shi Yang to wake up. They decided that way. Inside Montesi's palace, her eyes were so bright as she asked excitedly, "Show me, hurry." My G nodded and urged her soul energy. Right after that, her soul altar slowly emerged above her head. What my G cultivated was Ice Power Upanishad, which made her soul altar spatial looking. It was like a crystal glacier in a snowstorm. A snowflake that represented her power Upanishad hovered in her soul altar. Above the snowflake was an original symbol with a vague cold air twirling around it, which had my G's soul consciousness. It was uncontrollably releasing magical power of Ice Power Upanishad. Feeling the cold energy and seeing all things in her palace get frozen, Montesi's eyes brightened and gave compliments. What an excellent original symbol. An original symbol represents a supernatural ability. It seems like your Ice Power Upanishad will become more condensed and profound. I didn't expect him to refine me an original symbol that fast. My G sounded embarrassed. Haha, Montesi had a good mood. That kid has created a genocide in the 4 clans. He killed so many members of the 4 clans. Of course, he harvested an enormous amount of energy. I guessed he would change greatly, but I couldn't think that he was right in our Phantom clan. It seems that Serene Prison's team has laid their eyes on me. It's their luck then. Granny, do you really want to fight against the 4 clans? My G's face turned serious. It was true that Shi Yang's maniac massacre had damaged the 4 clans greatly. Many experts based on their homelands had lost their lives. No matter what, they were the strong clans with their names known everywhere for tens of thousands of years. Their deep foundation couldn't be estimated. The Phantom clan was slightly weaker than the other 4 clans. My G understood that even if the Phantom clan was attacked, despite their losses, their roots wouldn't be affected. Because the combined forces from the big territories and the dependent clans was much stronger than the force guarding their headquarters. Similarly, the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Black Demon Clan, and Ancient Monster Clan still had many experts living in other territories and important locations. They were loyal forces of the four clans. If they joined this war, they would become a heavy pressure toward the Phantom clan and the Whitebone clan. Montesi wasn't actually as calm as she showed. She understood that once the war burst out, both sides would have to bear significant losses, just like Cantacy and Fandelei had predicted. Did you think that only we would be worried and Serene Prison, Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert wouldn't be? Haha, you have to know that the mysterious Sky Clan, the most cunning clan among the 7 clans, hasn't picked their side yet. Moreover, this time, Shi Yang had spared the Whitebone clan, our Phantom clan, and even the mysterious Sky Clan. Do you know what that means? Montesi's petite face was smiling, her eyes bright with wisdom. My G's soft body slightly quivered. You mean? I'm sure that the mysterious Sky Clan has a secret agreement with Shi Yang, Montesi said affirmatively. The mysterious Sky Clan is stronger than us. If we join the Whitebone clan and the mysterious Sky Clan, can you guess which side will have a greater chance to win? My G smiled charmingly. Her graceful body swayed like a flower in the breeze. When Shi Yang wakes up, we can contact the mysterious Sky Clan through him. We will sign a secret treaty with them. When that happens, I wish the 4 clans will attack us. It's also a chance to change the situation of this sea of stars. I'm looking for it, though. Montesi squinted, her face eager. However, you have to keep an eye on Cantacy and Fandelei. You have to protect Shi Yang. I'm afraid that these 2 are having some conspiracy. They dare. My G was surprised. I found Cantacy and Fandelei have a discreet connection with the members of the 4 clans. I hope they know the limit. Otherwise, Montesi pulled a cold face, her eyes emitting murderous aura. In another hidden land inside the Phantom clan where Cantacy cultivated, Cantacy, Fandelei, and their subordinates gathered and discussed the matters that happened in the meeting hall today. Fandelei's handsome face looked glum and discontented. I don't know why she has to stick to that Shi Yang. Is it because he has the power Upanishad symbol tower? If we join hands and kill him when he's cultivating, we will get the power Upanishad symbol tower. Isn't that better for us? It's not that simple. Cantacy shook her head and said calmly, you fought with Shi Yang. You know how tough he is. He's mastered the space power Upanishad. It's not easy to kill him. Then what should we do? Do we have to follow them? Fandelei sounded reluctant. I'm still thinking, Cantacy frowned. However, at this moment, a found-faced warrior standing by them suddenly guffawed strangely. This fat warrior had many dreadlocks. With a closer look, those dreadlocks were actually finger-sized, green tentacles. They were dangling and moving peculiarly. He was a member of the Heavenly Ox tribe, a small tribe dependent on the Phantom clan. Fandelei had conquered this tribe. Thus, they were under his command. After they left the meeting hall, he had followed Cantacy and Fandelei to this place. Listening to their discussion, he suddenly acted strangely. As he was still laughing bizarrely, the fat man's body twisted as he was transfiguring. In less than 1 minute, he had become a graceful young girl around 20 years old. She wore a simple silver dress. Her aura, soul altar, and god power had changed as her appearance changed. Who are you? Cantacy looked bewildered for the first time. The aura on this girl gave her a dangerous feeling. The pressure in her soul told her that this girl wasn't normal. You don't know me, but your sister Montesi does. I killed this fatty of the Heavenly Ox tribe and disguised as him to attend your Phantom clan's meeting. I know your plan and what you and Fandelei are talking about. The graceful girl smiled and calmly looked at Cantacy. I'm interested in your plan. I think we can cooperate. Find a chance to lure my G away. I will use my G's appearance to deal with Shi Yang. Then, the girl transfigured again and turned into my G's appearance. Her makings, aura, body, and even the soul energy fluctuations matched. There was almost no flaw. If Cantacy and Fandelei didn't see her transfiguration with their own eyes, they would have thought that she was my G. They couldn't differentiate between them. Excellent. Cantacy's eyes sparkled strangely. She searched her memories. In the next second, she discolored in fear. Jean are you? Jean are you of Myriad Shape Tribe, one of the 10 great territory ancestors. It's you. Myriad Shape Tribe was just a weak tribe in this sea of stars. Members of this tribe could transfigure into any shape. The higher their realm was, the more magical their transfiguration could be. They could become any member of any race, with an identical body, soul, and aura. This tribe wasn't really eye-catching. However, as soon as Jana Yu appeared, she had made the reputation of the tribe known everywhere. Although Jana Yu was just like other members of Myriad Shape Tribe, her innate talents in using the supernatural power of the tribe to an amazing level helped her gain a lot of benefits. She had reached territory ancestor realm. Eventually, together with Sauron and Yuan Zhu, she had become one of the 10 great territory ancestors who didn't come from the 7 great clans. If you know who I am, are you more confident? Jana Yu giggled in Mai Ji's shape. Her charming and sexy makings were identical to Mai Ji. The others couldn't spot the differences. I know Fan Delay is interested in Skyfall Star River and you want the Power Upanishad symbol tower. I can leave them to you as long as you help me. Fan Delay and Cantacy were moved. What do you want? Cantacy sounded as calm as usual. She didn't show that she was convinced. You wouldn't come here for nothing, would you? What do you want from Sheyang? Besides the Power Upanishad symbol tower and Skyfall Star River, everything else on Sheyang will belong to me. Jana Yu smiled beautifully. Anyway, you just need to know that I'll bring you hope. This is the Phantom Clan, your lair. If you help me with your best, my plan will succeed 100% of the time. What do you think? Fan Delay and Cantacy exchanged looks. They kept silent for a long time. After that, Cantacy said, we need to discuss the details first. Yeah, we should talk more. Jana Yu's smile became brighter when she heard that. She knew her business would succeed soon. Chapter 1555 Ambush. Chapter 1555, Ambush. In the cold, secret chamber, Mai Ji was restless but she didn't know why. She vaguely felt an invisible danger awaiting her. It was her premonition. She looked at Sheyang who was sitting on an ice rock. Her exquisite brows furrowed, her face worried. This time, it took Sheyang a long time to refine the energy. Perhaps it was because he had taken in so many experts. The situation was getting worse and she had disclosed Sheyang's whereabouts in the secret meeting of the Phantom Clan. Pondering, she regretted that she had disclosed his whereabouts. She was afraid of the external members, the chiefs of the clans dependent on the Phantom Clan. They might reveal Sheyang's location. If so, the experts like Serene Prison, Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert would come to the headquarters of the Phantom Clan with all of their forces. Destroying Sheyang was their priority. Jingle, jingle. The rushing bell jingling came from a rhombus crystal on her creamy neck. This crystal connected directly to the magical information crystal of the Phantom Clan's information center. Her beautiful eyes looked discontent. She cursed something under her breath and then used her soul consciousness to connect to the sound stone. A soul message bloomed in her head. Mai Ji's exquisite face turned serious. She hurried to set up layers of barriers and left the chamber. She came to a strange room tiled with crystals. Looking at around a dozen beautiful girls moving between the crystals, her cold voice arose. What happened? Didn't I ask you to report to Granny directly if you got some problem? Why do you have to disturb me? Granny left several days ago. She went to an asteroid field to discuss with Hero of the Whitebone clan, said a young girl, bowing slightly. You also ordered us to report to you first if it's related to Cloud Mist territory. As Mai Ji heard that Montacy wasn't here, she didn't sound harsh anymore. What happened? The information about Cloud Mist territory is disclosed. Many people know that Sheyang and his family, friends are living in Cloud Mist territory. And now, the warriors of the 4 clans have departed to Cloud Mist territory. We're worried that the territory will fall. Thus, we reported to you for a solution, said the girl while shivering. Mai Ji's face turned cold. Not many people know Sheyang's family stays in Cloud Mist territory. It must be someone among us. Investigate. We must figure out who. We also thought that it was from someone among us. The girl shook like a leaf and lowered her voice. I'm sure that there is a traitor. Otherwise, The information wouldn't have spread out so quickly. Only our Phantom Clan has the capacity to send information to every corner of the universe shortly. Hearing her, Mai Ji was more outraged. She guessed that this could relate to Cantacy and Fan de Lei. She knew that it was the trap they had plotted against Shi Yang. She had to solve this urgent matter. At the same time, Zhen Yu in Mai Ji's disguise quietly sneaked into Mai Ji's secret chamber. Her bearings, aura, and soul energy fluctuation weren't different from Mai Ji. Cantacy couldn't distinguish her, either. As the most excellent expert of Myriad Shape Tribe, Zhen Yu had cultivated the innate supernatural ability of her clan to an utterly high level. She could change her appearance into any creature with one flicker of her thoughts. Mai Ji's chamber was built right under her palace with icy layers of barriers. Once someone intruded, Mai Ji could feel it immediately. Thus, Mai Ji could leave her room to go to the information center without too much concern. She was confident that even Cantacy and Montacy couldn't sneak through her sensitivity to break the barrier quietly to intrude Shi Yang's chamber. Unfortunately, it was Zhen Yu, the grandmaster of the disguising technique in this world. Layers of icy barriers shone in cold lights. There were dozens of them. As soon as some other energy touched them, it would activate Mai Ji's soul consciousness, which would alert Mai Ji shortly. Zhen Yu in Mai Ji's shape landed on the first icy barrier. A strange suction force came out from her body and absorbed the energy on the barrier. Right after, Zhen Yu's body turned transparent like the barrier as she got the matched aura with the barrier. It was like Zhen Yu became a barrier of this group or became a part of the barrier. After turning into a crystal layer of ice, she landed on the barrier and slowly blended with it. After a while, Zhen Yu disappeared. A light dot in the icy barrier slowly lowered and seeped through many layers. It didn't activate the barriers or touch Mai Ji's soul consciousness. Of course, it didn't alarm Mai Ji. Using the same method, Zhen Yu turned into a light dot and seeped through each barrier until she reached the bottom. So many icy dots congregated and turned into Mai Ji's shape. She smiled and used her similar appearance and aura. Slowly, she moved gracefully towards the center of the chamber. Her charming eyes gazed at Shi Yang naturally. "I'm back. They had a little trouble outside I had to solve." She smiled and talked to herself. "You've spent a lot of time to refine energy this time. The world out there is about to explode. The leaders of the 4 clans are aiming at the Phantom Clan and the Whitebone Clan." She briefed the situation of the galaxy and then came to Shi Yang. Observing him for a while, she mumbled, "I hope you wake up soon." Then, she stroked his cheeks and fondled the stubble on his face, her face passionate. Even if Mai Ji was here herself, she would think that she was watching herself in the mirror. Zhen Yu's acting was simply superb. Her soul energy and her icy aura completely matched with Mai Ji. Shi Yang sank into his energy refining process. As he smelled a familiar aura and coldness, he wasn't skeptical at all. He thought that it was Mai Ji. "You rascal." Zhen Yu stooped and groaned as if she was aroused. Her ivory hands slowly slid downward towards Shi Yang's chest. Strange light dots from her slim, pointy fingertips seeped into Shi Yang's skin. Those light dots were so tiny that the soul couldn't recognize it. Shi Yang was concentrating on refining the energy. He just felt a light chill on his skin, so he didn't mind it. Zhen Yu mumbled, her hands wandering around Shi Yang's hunky torso and her eyes twinkling. Slowly, she stopped caressing him and sat right in front of him. She just watched Shi Yang like that. Time flew hurriedly. After a while, Shi Yang's body shook abruptly as if he was enduring pain. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Small insects singing arose from his body. He could feel some tiny creatures slowly nibbling his flesh and blood. Those tiny creatures were also reproducing quickly in his veins and bones. Their tiny bodies slowly enlarged. Waves of pain came from his entire body. He immediately recognized the danger. Opening his eyes, Shi Yang was baffled as he looked at Mai Ji smiling in front of him. "Why? Why did you ambush me?" "Because you're such a ladies' man. I got the news that you have a fierce girlfriend called Zi Yao. That woman is an absolute beginning creature, right?" Zhen Yu used Mai Ji's tone to talk. "Do you feel enough with her? Did you spare a spot in your heart for me? The worms I sent to your body could keep you on myself. You belong to me. Only me. What the heck are you doing? Are you crazy? Shi Yang's face darkened. My cultivation is at the critical moment. Do you want to kill me? He hadn't recognized anything abnormal. He thought that she was actually my Ji. The supernatural ability of the myriad shape tribe was urged to the most exquisite level in Jin Ayu's hands. Rumors weren't wrong when they said that she could deceive even the most intimate partner. Shi Yang couldn't find anything different from the soul, aura, and her energy. Jin Ayu's innate power was really superb. Not many people knew that Jin Ayu's power was so magical that she could even copy the other's soul altar, Power Upanishad, and even the soul seal. I want to see Power Upanishad symbol tower and Skyfall Star River. Can you show me? Jin Ayu suddenly begged softly. Those little worms are just a little prank. They will disappear shortly after. I just wanted to use them to wake you up and tell you the current situation. There's something you need to know. People know your family and friends are living in cloud mist territory. I'm worried. Magically, Shi Yang exhaled in relief as he thought that it was just a harmless prank. She just wanted to tell him the situation in cloud mist territory. Waving his hands, he didn't mind it. You don't need to worry about cloud mist territory. Even if the 4 clans know the location, they can't intrude. Why? Jin Ayu was surprised. Before I came here, I'd used the space energy to seal the entrance of cloud mist territory. I'd also distorted its location too. Unless they have an expert cultivating space power Upanishad at the same level, it won't be simple to locate cloud mist territory in this vast sea of stars. Shi Yang was calm and at ease. Before he came here, he had calculated everything. He knew that the 4 clans would come to take mad revenge. He had arranged everything. As Jin Ayu was so surprised and skeptical, he gave a faint smile. About Power Upanishad symbol tower and Skyfall Star River, if you want to see, I can show you. It's not a big deal, is it? Then, he was about to urge his energy to take out Power Upanishad symbol tower and Skyfall Star River. However, as soon as he wanted to take action, his face changed and screamed. No. Those worms aren't as simple as you said. Uriga. He couldn't help but roar as if he had to endure unimaginable pain. His flesh and blood were nibbled and swallowed. Jin Ayu looked content. She shook her head disdainfully and sneered, I thought you were bold. Is that all you got? I trapped you easily. Not interesting at all. Chapter 1556, Drink Blood and Eat Flesh. Chapter 1556, Drink Blood and Eat Flesh _ My G's exquisite face could turn creatures crazy changed as she was laughing coldly. Her white, water-like skin rippled. After a while, her appearance returned to Jin Ayu's real shape. Jin Ayu had slim brows and an elegant face. However, she wasn't as charming as My G despite her extremely beautiful slim body. She was wearing a moonlight's dress. Her whole appearance was like a serene white lotus that made her bearings completely different from My G. Her narrow, long eyes had a cold disdain. They rumored that you could resist Yuan Zhu, which made me shiver in fear. I've spent a lot of efforts, but it turned out worse. You know that you didn't even have any defense. You disappointed me. Her willowy body sat quietly in front of Shi Yang, her face confident and ease. Shi Yang looked savage as his stocky body cracked strangely and showed his muscle fibers and veins, which looked so horrible. So many gold light dots emerged from his blood and flesh with ear-piercing screeching. Pure gold spirit ants. They are pure gold spirit ants. Shi Yang panted, his face dark. He didn't mind his torn skin and muscles and screamed, "Who is this despicable slut? Did I sleep with you or did I kill your entire family? Why did you have to use the pure gold spirit ants to ambush me? Are you so slutty that you want me to rape you? Bastard. Shut up." Jin Ayu couldn't stand his insults. She shouted and then placed a white finger on his glabella. A silver steel needle emerged from her fingertip, which had some fine patterns. However, it wiggled like a worm that made people numb. A pungent smell fumed from the silver steel needles. Shi Yang felt a twinge in his brain. The soul pond in his soul altar was polluted immediately. He was shaken as he found it hard to urge his power Upanishad. My pure gold spirit ants are mutant after several generations. They are tougher than their ancestors in the absolute beginning era. You shouldn't dream about using your devouring power Upanishad to eat them. Zhina Yu was haughty. Before I came here, I'd discussed with Edgar. We let the expert of the devouring clan attack the ants. I'm certain about the effects already. My pure gold spirit ants have been mutant for many generations. The devouring and corrosion power Upanishads can do no harm to them. If you don't believe me, you can try. While talking, the silver needle pierced through Shi Yang's glabella. Billions of silver electric currents bloomed in Shi Yang's brain and turned into arm-sized worms that fell into his sea of consciousness. Those worms swarmed Shi Yang's sea of consciousness and released dirty things that made his sea of consciousness a muddy puddle. His soul pond got polluted slowly. All kind of power Upanishads were stagnant because of pollution. Checking his body, he found that the pure gold spirit ant's abnormal. This sort of ant was much bigger and they had fangs and horns. It seemed like they were a crossbreed between ants and some monstrous insects. He urged devouring power Upanishad, but then, he found that after the pure gold spirit ants got into his blood, they got his blood aura, so the devouring power Upanishad ignored them. If he used the corrosion power Upanishad, unless he eroded his own body, he couldn't do anything to the ants. He felt insecure. Since he had come to this world, he had faced so many deadly situations. But this time was the toughest. His god body and soul altar were attacked at the same time. After each minute, his power became more stagnant. If it continued this way, he would lose his resistance and the others could do anything to him. What do you want? He tried to cut off the worried thoughts in his head as fast as he could. Trying to stay sober, he said with a dark countenance. You want power Upanishad symbol tower and Skyfall Star River? How did you know I'm here? What do I want? Zhina Yu licked the corners of her mouth. Her swift tongue glided between her lips, her face mesmerizing. However, her words were striking. I want you. I want your blood and your bones. I think your blood will taste good. Perhaps it could help me unchain the restraint of myriad shape tribe. It could transform this body of mine to another height. Drink my blood. Eat my flesh. Shi Yang paled. He discreetly urged his power to stabilize his body and the soul while trying to talk nonsense to seize more time to break this situation. Isn't Yuan Zhu a better option? He's a real absolute beginning creature. If you can eat him and drink his blood, wouldn't it be easier to evolve? I wanted to do that. However, Yuan Zhu isn't easy to deal with. It's not easy to find him, either. Thus, I have to choose the second option. You will be my chance to break through again. Well, you shouldn't waste your breath. At your realm, you can't resist me. Even your incomplete absolute beginning body can't resist me. Zhina Yu looked disdainful. Apparently, she thought Shi Yang was easier to deal with. Also, what the rumor said about him was really bragging. At this moment, she evaluated that Shi Yang was far behind the experts of the previous generations like Yuan Zhu. Thus, as the world was shaking, she used the supernatural power of myriad shape tribe to aim at Shi Yang. What are you waiting for? Shi Yang sneered. I'm waiting for my little babies to control your body and sea of consciousness entirely. Then, I will eat you and drink your blood. Zhina Yu squinted. An icy light shot out from her narrow eyes. She looked like a hungry wolf that was drooling for a delicious meal. Shi Yang stayed silent. He closed his eyes and felt the pure gold spirit ants nibbling his body like silkworms eating mulberry leaves. As his soul altar, sea of consciousness, and the soul pond were polluted, his power Upanishads and supernatural abilities were stagnant. He had tried many times to use the 8 evil power Upanishads, the life, star, and even the flame power Upanishads to eliminate the aliens in his body, his soul. Soon, he found that his power was ineffective to the pure gold spirit ants and the little worms in his soul. These two species had the supernatural powers of myriad shape tribe. Their aura and life energy matched with Shi Yang's aura and soul energy fluctuation. It was unbelievable. For the time being, Shi Yang's hands were tied. Zhina Yu coldly watched him, but she didn't do anything. She wanted to see if Shi Yang could resist the two terrifying alien creatures. After several minutes, Shi Yang made his first decision. Crack, crack, crack. Strange cracking noises echoed around the icy chamber. Waves of space energy rippled. This was followed by the space in this room getting sealed. Without a positive solution, Shi Yang sealed himself first and used the most powerful space seal technique to lock himself. The halos reflected illusions of different spaces and emerged in front of Shi Yang. At first glance, it looked like Shi Yang had so many mirrors installed around him, which created a lot of images of him. The seal covered the entire space, the large scale and Shi Yang himself, and the small scale. Jin Yu recognized what he wanted to do. He couldn't use time power Upanishad to stop the soul altar, so he had to stop the danger in his body first. The space seal could seal all matters including his own body. Once your soul altar is occupied, the space seal will be broken without any effort needed. I want to see it, Jin Yu mumbled. As he used space to seal the body, if she wanted to break the seal, she had to detonate the space barriers, which was going to be really loud. It would alert the members of the Phantom Clan and Montesi, and make her return as fast as possible. She was always afraid of Montesi. She knew the power of time. This time, she seized the chance when Montesi was away. She didn't want to fight Montesi. She believed that the invisible creatures she had put in Shi Yang's brain could reproduce quickly and occupy his sea of consciousness and the soul pond. She wanted to control his soul altar first. After the soul altar was fallen, Shi Yang's body was just a puppet without any ability to threaten her. That's why she wasn't hurried. Deep inside Shi Yang's head, just like Jin Yu had guessed, so many worms were reproducing massively in his sea of consciousness. Through attacking his sea of consciousness, the worms ate his soul consciousness to grow further. They were about to launch their last attack to Shi Yang's soul altar. The sea of consciousness and the soul pond were the foundation of the soul altar, similar to how the God Power ancient tree was the source of energy for the body. They were also the energy source to urge the power Upanishads in his soul altar. They kept him sober to develop the territory. Once the sea of consciousness and soul pond fell, the warrior's soul altar was taken, his body would be controlled and his soul seal would be erased. Shi Yang understood that the battle was taking place right in his sea of consciousness and the soul pond. He had to destroy or refine those reproducing creatures to have a chance to live. As he was still mindful, he urged the soul power and tore a hole on his territory above the soul altar. In the brilliant galaxy-like territory, so many black holes were spinning to refine the energy taken in from his bloody massacre. His territory was much more magical than others' territories. It could connect acupuncture points. The energy in the acupuncture points wasn't refined yet, but he forced it to pour into the territory. That territory was like a whole new world that expanded as it received more energy. The expanding territory had energy and more life stars. As his soul flickered and his power Upanishads were urged, the life stars had magnificent changes. They began to have mountains, rivers, cold glacier, lands of fire, lush forest, and isolated deserts. The natural landscapes in different life stars were corresponding to many power Upanishads he cultivated. However, they didn't have any creature. The worms that were nibbling his sea of consciousness and soul pond jumped in joy when they saw the hole. Just like flies that smelled something stinky, they began to move to his territory. Jin Yu's eyes brightened as she thought that this battle would end quickly. Chapter 1557, Desperate Straits. Chapter 1557, Desperate Straits, _ Phantom Clan's Information Control Center. It was a place with countless crystals inlaid on the walls of a spacious palace. The crystals were glowing in bright lights with sizzling electricity. They were used to receiving and transferring breaking news. Those crystals connected to different lands and territories. From here, they could send a message to any location in the fastest way. There were so many races in this vast sea of stars, but only the Phantom Clan had the capacity to gather, sort, and distribute the information magically like that. In the past tens of thousands of years, the Phantom Clan earned big profits only from selling information and intelligence. Mai Ji wore a serious face and stood in front of a massive broken crystal. She directed all the searches about the cloud mist territory in the sea of information. Around a dozen young girls were moving around. All of them looked very busy. Crack, crack. The closed bronze doors sprang open. Right when Mai Ji changed her face, many shadows appeared in the control center. Cantacy led this team. Fan de Lei was her assistant. They took several handsome men of the Phantom clan and blocked the entrance of the room. As Mai Ji and the others were baffled, those men at the Immortal Realm abruptly attacked and subdued all the young girls by Mai Ji. The attackers were all at the Immortal Realm and they were strong men among the male population of the Phantom clan. Most of the girls in this room didn't have high realms. They were controlled easily. Wanton. Do you want to betray your clan? Mai Ji hissed. An icy block of light boomed and turned into thousands of icicles moving around the room. They were deadly weapons attacking the ones who had the guts to attack the control center. So many icicles turned into pure white starlight. The temperature in this room dropped fast. All the crystals were frosted. Except for Fan de Lei and Cantacy, the hair of the other warriors in this room was frosted, their bodies frozen. Mai Ji was outraged, her powers freezing the entire place. Crack, crack, crack. The cracking sounds from broken bones rose goosebumps on people's skin. The Phantom clan men by Cantacy and Fan de Lei were chilled. They couldn't even stand firm. Cantacy's eyes were like sharp blades. She shouted, "Wanton! You dare to attack me! You don't respect your senior!" Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Horrible wind howled from her slender body like furious tornadoes. Slowly, grey tornadoes emerged in her pupils. Mai Ji changed her visage. When she saw Cantacy, she knew that this woman was about to attack her. Our enemies are watching us like a tiger watching its prey. Why do you want to instigate a civil war? You don't want to keep our clan peaceful? It's not me who rose the civil war. It's my good sister. And you, Mai Ji. Cantacy raised her hand. A tornado emerged from her palm and released a power that could tear the world. That tornado aimed at Mai Ji and grabbed her like a heavenly hand. It's you who intruded cloud mist territory and attacked Fan de Lei. Moreover, I'm doing good things for the Phantom clan. I won't let my sister's ambition drive the Phantom clan to an endless war. She sneered, as long as we control Shiyang, the coming war between the 7 clans will be solved easily. Our clan will be safe. We don't have to sacrifice thousands of members to the universe. We don't want to see them turn into cosmic dust. Granny won't forgive you. Mai Ji hissed through her gritted teeth. The wind howling in the tornado became louder. Mai Ji was inside the tornado and she found hundreds of smaller tornadoes revolving inside this tornado. They were bestial mouths that bit her. Cantacy was at Second Sky of Territory Ancestor Realm, one of the strongest experts of the Phantom clan. Mai Ji couldn't resist her when she attacked with her best. Montacy. Cantacy wore a smirking face. She can't protect herself. I'm not sure if she could return safely. Even if she returns, she will be badly wounded. What should I be afraid of? Mai Ji, I won't kill you. I promised Fan de Lei to give you to him. For the time being, I will subdue you and let you see how my good sister ends. I will also make you watch how that bastard Shiyang walks to his destruction. You dare to plot against Granny. Mai Ji screamed ear-piercingly. She attacked me. Why shouldn't I take revenge? Cantacy increased her power and spoke to Fan de Lei. I know you love her, but you can't touch her now. She's prey to my sister and that Shiyang. Before we get the results from both sides, you have to watch her well. Deep in Fan de Lei was a passionate fire. At this moment, his affection for Mai Ji was revealed. He nodded and took a deep breath with an evil face. I know the limit. Good then, replied Cantacy. A corner in the sea domain of nihility. 9 dead stars like beehives hovering by themselves in the void. There were so many caves on the dead stars, which made them look like giant beehives. From a distance, those 9 stars had formed half a circle, which seemed to be something mysterious. The 9 dead stars weren't intact. Some were cracked and chipped. As they were here and arrayed all together, It seemed like some experts had arranged them with his supernatural power. This area was called Deadly Silence, a corner of the sea domain of Nihility, which wasn't far from the Phantom Clan and the Whitebone Clan. Moreover, it was extremely remote and no warrior had traveled here for several thousand years. It was almost an abandoned area. The meeting between Montesi and the Whitebone Clan was scheduled and located in this area. Montesi and Hero had finished their plan. They were about to join forces and resist the four clans. They had even shared the locations and territories after the war. Everything was regulated and signed. Around a dozen battleships were anchored on a dead star. Each of them was as big as half of the endless sea, carrying so many materials and tens of thousands of warriors. They were just part of Phantom Clan's force. They accompanied Montesi and scattered around to explore and get information of the Four Clans League. Montesi was on one of those battleships to direct her subordinates. After that, she asked them to leave and take actions as planned. She still stayed in the Deadly Silence corner to control the situation at the prepping stage. She planned to return to the Phantom Clan's headquarters after locating the Four Clans' forces. It had been 10 days. In the beginning, her guards reported daily. However, lately, the ones who went out for patrol duty all lost connection. No one had returned to report the newest situation. The danger descended on Deadly Silence corner as they weren't vigilant. A big boat created by the monstrous dragon skeleton came with clusters of black clouds. A flag with drawings of monsters bowing rose in the wind. Beverly of the ancient monster clan appeared under the flag, her face dark and sinister. A massive war chariot made of tens of thousands of souls slowly emerged from another direction. Countless shadows moved under the war chariots as if they had just escaped from the 9 Serenity Hell. Serene Prison of the Soul Clan stood arrogantly, his bearings fierce. Montesi was frightened. She turned around to look. Her petite but agile body shook hard. In thick demon flames, Rupert's majestic body was partially visible. Tens of thousands of Black Demon Clan warriors stood behind him. Instantly, the bloodthirsty and combative aura expanded. The warriors of the Devouring Clan had spooky green skin. They formed in different blocks according to their power Upanishad. Edgar took them and rode on strange islands that diffused deadly energy. Boom, boom, boom. When the four clans appeared, the crystals on the chest of some experts by Montesi exploded and their chests shattered. A beautiful Phantom Clan woman's ample bosom flattened like a mountain that got cut off. Blood streamed from her body horribly. What had just exploded was the sound stone connected to the warriors that had left to collect information. Unless they were dead and someone had touched the sound stone, those crystals wouldn't have exploded like that. Montesi, look. Beverly of the ancient monster clan wore a cold face. She pointed at the side of the dragon skeleton battleship. The black clouds moved away and revealed the blood-dripping heads. They were the members of the Phantom Clan who had gone earlier. They were all beheaded. The entire Phantom Clan's blood boiled instantly. A resentment that was deep to the bone appeared in their eyes. The genocide Shi Yang has started in our four clans is much bigger than your contemporary damage. If you dare to protect such a maniac, you will accept a bloody price, said Beverly crazily. Montesi, if you want to leave, we won't stop you. However, I'm sure that none of your subordinates will survive. Serene Prison crossed his arms in front of his chest and spoke haughtily. As long as you stay here, I can promise you that you and your people will be safe. I want to know how you could find this place. Montesi tried to suppress her desire to kill. Her eyes were like blades stabbing Serene Prison's face. Serene Prison didn't answer. He turned to Beverly, Rupert, and Edgar. The others regarded him as they knew that it was safe now. Then you should see this. Serene Prison sneered. The ghosts slowly congregated above his head and created vague images. Those images changed continuously and projected the situation inside the icy chamber. Inside the secret chamber, Shi Yang was using the space seal to lock his body. Jana Yu appeared with her real shape. Jana Yu of the Myriad Shape tribe. Montesi gritted her teeth and hissed. Jana Yu nodded to her gently. Long time no see, Montesi. Oh no, we just met. right in your palace when my Ji told everybody their Shiyang's location. You just didn't know that I was there. Anyway, Shiyang is subdued. He will lose his resistance soon. My Ji, your apprentice is controlled by her good sister. Right now, she controls the entire Phantom clan. You can't do anything even if you get back there. Montesi's small face paled. Chapter 1558, Rampage to break the challenge. Chapter 1558, Rampage to break the challenge _ Zhen Yu skeptically observed Shiyang, who didn't have an energy fluctuation of a living creature. Although Shiyang was sitting right in front of her, she had a strange feeling that he was very far away. Waves of space energy rippled and separated her and Shiyang. She suddenly found that the strange worms she had sent to Shiyang's sea of consciousness slowly lost the connection with her. At first, she thought it was the magnificent power of the space power Upanishad, and the barrier and seal had hindered her soul consciousness. However, as time flew, she became restless. She had an insecure feeling and she didn't know why. She found that something was wrong and the situation was getting out of her control. Deep in Shiyang's soul altar, it was a vast sea of stars or a brand new universe with thick life energy hovering above Shiyang's sea of consciousness. This universe had so many stars and each star had thick earth and heaven energy. Together, they had created a bright but mysterious, magnificent picture. In a corner of that bright starry sky, the arm-sized worms were chewing off a massive planet. Strangely, the pollutants the worms produced could affect this territory too. Shiyang's host soul was the master of that territory. Because of the intruded sea of consciousness, his soul power and soul consciousness were controlled. It seemed like he couldn't manage his territory anymore. A bright star was polluted and nibbled. Shortly after, those worms reproduced fast. Their population was now an enormous number. The situation turned more deadly. All of a sudden, a dazzling light shot out and thrusted into that territory. Shiyang's territory changed amazingly after that. He had slaughtered the experts of the 4 clans to refine the pure energy. At first, wisps of energy scattered in every corner of the territory. However, at this moment, all of them began to gather as if they received the same call. Wisps of energy turned into jets of bright light and merged with that column of light. That light column seemed to have a magical life. Shortly after, it became so fierce that it changed the situation of his territory. Boom! The strong light powerfully shot over, covered the worms and the entire chipped planet. Inside the powerful light, those worms weren't killed. They twisted and transformed. At the same time, a soul seal detached from Shiyang's host soul. Strange things happened within that light. The worms Zhen Yu had released were transforming into creatures. They had transformed into a group of little people with Shiyang's imprint. They had spikes and scale armor covered their bodies. Although they looked different, they all had the same strength. From a closer look, they looked 80% similar to Shiyang in his absolute beginning body. They were a new species. The seal that Zhen Yu had left in their lives were erased shortly. The strong light shot from the territory and shone in his sea of consciousness. Billions of worms in the sea of consciousness were like ice underwater. They were dissolved in just a blink of an eye. The creatures polluting Shiyang's soul altar were obliterated within a split second. Boom! The fierce light from Shiyang's territory exploded and sent countless light dots to his territory and through Shiyang's acupuncture points, overflowing his sealed body from the acupuncture points. The mutant pure gold spirit ant spread in every corner of his body and the contaminants in his sea of consciousness were burned into ashes. Sizzle! Sizzle! Shiyang's body fumed thick smokes as if he was burned. His stiff body twitched in the smoke. Zhen Yu's soft body staggered. She had to back off continuously. The frigid ice of the secret chamber boomed and cracked. The entire secret chamber was collapsed. She was terrified, her calm and confident face vanishing. She realized that she had lost connection with the creatures she had bred and nurtured for a long time. She had fed pure gold spirit ants and the strange worms with her blood and aura. Thus, they had myriad shape tribes' supernatural abilities. The rare creatures that could resist even the devouring power Upanishad were all unknowingly dead. As their master, She was damaged badly. She now knew that she shouldn't disdain Shiyang. BOOP. 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 Waves of space energy exploded. The sharp space blades pierced through the area and cut off the entire land. The palaces above the chamber collapsed grumblingly. Many members of the Phantom clan screamed and ran away. Looking at the deep hole in the ground, they yelled in panic. Slut. Die. Countless starlight beams congregated in thick smoke. A brilliant galaxy emerged above Shiyang's head. Shiyang didn't turn into his absolute beginning body yet. He pointed at Zhen'er Yu at a corner of the collapsed space. The 8 islands of the 8 evil power Upanishads stormed toward Zhen'er Yu in the rolling blood sea. At the same time, Shiyang's severely wounded body healed with thick life energy. The cracks on his body mended and recovered shortly. The power of life power Upanishad was built on the foundation of the immortal demon blood. He could use life power Upanishad to regrow his bones, veins, and even blood. At the ultimate level, his energy would never run out and his body was undying. You dared to destroy my pure gold spirit ants. Even if I can't drink your blood, I have to destroy you. Zhen'er Yu's slender body retreated like a willow catkin. After a flash, she disappears out of the collapsed space and moved to the outside of the Phantom clan. You dare to cause trouble in the Phantom clan. You don't treasure your life, do you? I want to see how Montesi kills you. Shiyang laughed savagely. Turning into a jet of starlight, he left the icy chamber to the Phantom clan's vast territory. Strangely, Shiyang realized that there weren't many Phantom clan fellows in this area. The Phantom clan fellows scattered away. They didn't look like they wanted to attack Zhen'er Yu. He thought that something was wrong. Montesi, she can't help you. I control the Phantom clan now. Countess's voice arose from a palace far from him. As her voice subsided, she appeared by Shiyang and Zhen'er Yu inside a twisted tornado. Fan Delay is imprisoning your my G. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Fan Delay has a deep love with my G. He doesn't mind that she's been with you for a long time. Hearing her, Shiyang became restless and hot-tempered. Flows of murderous aura fumed from him like dragon blood, his eyes bloodshot. The 8 gory islands soared furiously from the ground and attacked Countessy and Zhen'er Yu. The death, soul control, destruction, and more released torrential evil auras under his evil energy urge. The negative energies bombarded their souls and ran directly into Zhen'er Yu's and Countessy's head. Boom, boom, boom. The bloody islands barged into the tornadoes. Countess's eyes shot magical light and used her power Upanishad to resist. Zhen'er Yu disappeared ghostly as if she had already left. However, her aura remained at the site. She used Myriad Shape Tribe's innate abilities to hide nearby. She had camouflaged her soul, body, and aura, which was going to be very hard to distinguish her. The 8 islands were the source of power Upanishad inheritances in the bloodthirsty forces' holy land. Pu Tai had refined them. When Shiyang swallowed Pu Tai, he got them all. They had become a wonder in his territory. These 8 towers of inheritance could produce power that wasn't less than a divine weapon in cooperation with the evil power Upanishad. Also, after he had killed so many members of the 4 clans, he got a lot of energy together with negative emotions accumulated in his acupuncture points. At this moment, all of the negative energies in his acupuncture points were activated and overflowing to the 8 islands. Shortly, the islands' energy rocketed. They could destroy real matters and erode people's soul. They became superb. Countessy used the tornadoes from her wind power Upanishad to resist the 8 islands. At second sky of territory ancestor realm, she wasn't in a disadvantageous situation. However, countless wisps of negative energies had intruded, bringing resentful, desperate, fearful, restless, and bloodthirsty feelings to attack her soul altar. She couldn't stand them. She had to use the soul energy in the soul pond to create a defense, stopping the attack that was aimed at her soul. Thus, she didn't gain the upper hand, either. So powerful. I'm afraid this is the power of second sky of territory ancestor realm. Countessy was startled. She pulled herself together and used her soul to sense. Soon, she found that the aura on Shi Yang's body was so marvelous that she couldn't measure how strong he actually was. He's stuck at the challenge to enter second sky of territory ancestor realm. It's strange. In this circumstance, people would try to break through rather than join a battle. And he's currently fighting against us. He can break through in any minute. Damn. My creatures helped him evolve his territory. Janayu's worried screaming came to Candace's soul, which shook her hard. Was he breaking through now? She contemplated, her eyes drilling into Shi Yang. Then, she suddenly got it. She knew that Janayu was correct. She couldn't know his realm because he was in the middle of his progress to enter second sky of territory ancestor realm from first sky. In this stage, his realm wasn't stable. You lure him. I'm going to hit him fatally. Janayu's voice arose in Candace's head once again. Provoke him. Make him lose his mind. Make him restless and hot-tempered. He will fall into bedevilment. Let alone breaking through, he will explode. Candace's eyes brightened. She sighed as Janayu's plan was so sinister. Fan de Lei is confining my G. I asked him not to act rashly. You have Skyfall Star River, which should belong to him. His rage can blind him. I'm not sure if he does something immortal. Candace knew Fan de Lei didn't dare to act rashly. However, if it was to enrage Shi Yang, she had to say so. Rurua. Shi Yang completely exploded. He swelled up into his giant absolute beginning body. A towering giant appeared and stomped on a palace. Get out. The entire world was filled with his earth-shaking bellow. Sizzle. 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 Starlight bloomed in that palace. Meteors shot everywhere. Fan de Lei had to sway out of the place helter-skelter. Now, he looked at Candace with hidden resentment. Chapter 1559, Dogfight. Chapter 1559, Dogfight __. Fan de Lei was gory, his handsome face like a broken watermelon dripping dirty juice. The starlight dots twirled around his body like fireflies, creating a light curtain. Numerous bands of starlight emitted from the broken palaces. At this moment, they were torn into powder, moving along with the twisting winds as the power of wind howled furiously. Candace's cage was broken and my G was revealed, looking unharmed. Fan de Lei shot Candace a look. He was furious, but he didn't show it. Anyway, he didn't mind his disheveled condition. As he touched his labella, hundreds of star nuclei flew out. They were all crystal clear, which were refined perfectly from the essence of the life star. Each of the star nuclei were quenched thousands of times, giving them an intimidating power. Hundreds of star nuclei arrayed like a miniature universe. They shrank and covered Fan de Lei's body directly, turning into a set of dazzling star armor. At first glance, Fan de Lei seemed to have a crystal twirling around his body. The immense star energy gathered, creating a new barrier to confine my G. After one furious strike from Shi Yang, my G's confinement was loosened a little bit, but got tightened one more time now. Shi Yang had transformed into his absolute beginning body, becoming a towering giant. He stood on the land of the Phantom Clan like a mountain piercing through the sky. Many Phantom Clan fellows were screaming, running away as fast as they could. You should die, all of you. The void was filled with Shi Yang's bestial howling as the inheritance towers crazily barged and bumped into Candace's horrible tornadoes. Sizzle. 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 Lightning strikes meandered like giant dragons. With a closer look, one could realize that those lightning strikes were actually space slits that could tear everything. Massive lightning bolts weaved with each other and the entire sky was torn into pieces. It was like an exploding frozen lake, revealing so many terrifying cracks. An endless desolate aura came from the space slits that led to unknown locations. It seemed that those areas didn't have a single beam of energy or any creature visiting there in billions of years. As long as a warrior got in there accidentally, they would have to endure the infinite loneliness. Their hope would be consumed soon, and when their energy was consumed up one day, they would destroy themselves. When the warriors of the Phantom Clan saw the space shattering, they were all petrified. As those lightning strikes moved around, the beautiful palaces turned into powder, disappearing into the slits. The Fairyland territory of the Phantom Clan was now a ruin, and it would transform into a horrible hell soon. Fan de Lei and Cantacy were frightened. They didn't think that Shi Yang could be so fierce and evil. When he turned into the absolute beginning body, he had also become the most brutal demon who didn't care about any lives. At this moment, they suddenly recognized what catastrophe Shi Yang had brought to the Devouring Clan, the Soul Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, and Black Demon Clan. They finally understood why the Serene Prison and the others had sworn to kill him at any cost. Don't. My fellows are innocent. While Shi Yang was crazily showing his power in an attempt to slaughter, Mai Ji didn't mind the silver star chains coiling her as she screamed at Shi Yang in the void. Many members of the Phantom Clan were persuaded to work with Cantacy and Fan de Lei, convinced to support the two. However, most members of this group didn't want to join the war between the 7 clans. As Cantacy and Fan de Lei had deluded and deceived them, they gradually accepted the plan. However, at this moment, seeing Mai Ji in confinement to protect them, the soft spot in their hearts was touched. Mai Ji is a member of our clan. No matter what, unchain her first. Fan de Lei, release her. We won't allow a civil war. Never. For the time being, the Phantom Clan fellows screamed and yelled to protect Mai Ji. They were screaming while walking out of every corner to call for the members of the Phantom Clan. A large group of warriors had ignored Fan de Lei's guards to storm toward him, trying to help Mai Ji get rid of the confinement. The sudden incident made Cantacy pale and Fan de Lei get startled. They recognized that they hadn't conquered the people's minds yet. In the Phantom Clan, they didn't have the supreme power, and they would never be able to convince their fellows. Madam Mai Ji, I'm coming to save you. A young man of the Phantom Clan at the incipient God Realm had stormed forward without fearing of Fan de Lei's defending halos. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Hundreds of light beams shot toward the young man and pierced him into a beehive, his body exploding on the spot. Don't come close. We will kill anyone, said a loyal subordinate of Fan de Lei as he ordered several hundred warriors to scream while protecting Fan de Lei well. Duke. You killed a fella. You will be punished by the clan's rules. Kill him. Make him pay for his sin. Damn you, Duke. You killed my brother. I'm going to kill you. The members of the Phantom Clan cried and moved toward Duke. As they urged their energies, the sky above their heads was filled with so many bright incipient extents. Some looked dark like the evil abyss, some were like the ranges of volcanoes, and even the endless desert, depending on their power Upanishads. Crack, crack. A space lightning shot toward the barriers Fan de Lei's subordinates had cast. With that, many layers were cut through while energy sparked everywhere. Their defense was broken. Fan de Lei, watch Mai Ji. When Cantacy saw the strange situation, she decided fast, screaming and disappearing instantly. A massive, fearful tornado appeared at her spot. It was tens of thousands of meters tall, as if it could connect earth and heaven while twirling massively and frighteningly. Inside the tornado, Cantacy's voice arose. Shi Yang, do you think that you can swagger in our Phantom Clan's territory? I'm going to show you the real power of the second sky of territory ancestor realm. The tornado that connected the ground and the sky roared brutally, twisting toward Shi Yang's absolute beginning body. Instantly, a sandstorm arose amidst the thunderbolts and twisted space while beams of light shot over from outer space. This doomsday scene shook everybody, and the low realm warriors shivered in despair. They didn't know what to do in this apocalypse. Boop. 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 All of a sudden, a blood energy column shot out of each of Shi Yang's acupuncture points. Those blood columns were made of negative energy, filled with furious, destructive energy. There were 720 blood columns from 720 acupuncture points in Shi Yang's body. Shortly, they turned into 720 massive blood dragon, each of whom was more than 10,000 meters long, stinking with a murderous aura. 720 dragons hissed and roared, barging into the tornado. Boom, boom, boom. The blood dragons twisted and attacked the tornado frantically, striking Cantacy inside. Actually, the void couldn't endure this pressure. This furious battle would destroy earth and heaven here. Unexpectedly, So many light dots in the sea of stars were occupied discreetly. Deep in the void, Shi Yang's eyes were like two gory planets as maniacal emotions continued to rise in his pupils. Jin Yu had disturbed him while he was at the most critical moment to refine the energy. He had to endure the backlash to fight forcefully against Jin Yu and Cantasy. Moreover, Cantasy had provoked him badly, which had finally pushed him into bedevilment. At this moment, he was fighting against Cantasy while trying to control the turbulent energy in his body and soul altar. He needed to keep a sound mind. The soul altar and the acupuncture points had many negative emotions in them, which were growing fast. They were like the dregs that wanted to seize the chance to wreak havoc in his soul and body. The Power Upanishad symbol tower shot a magical light column that shone upon his territory and sea of consciousness, eliminating Jin Yu's two kinds of evil creatures. But, the Power Upanishad symbol tower didn't retrieve the light yet, still shining brightly. In his territory, a new species was generated as the strong light shone about. They were created with his soul seal and blood as the foundation, and the worms as the bodies. His territory now finally had creatures, a sign of another advancement in his realm. However, at this moment, the new residents of his territory were affected by the negative emotions and soul energy, turning evil and destructive. It was a sign of his unstable realm. He had to spend more efforts to control those creatures, which were about to evolve in an uncontrollable path. He wanted them to evolve in his way. Deep in the void, Shi Yang shivered and he turned to check his abdomen. At this moment, he was standing in this world in his absolute beginning body, his size now even bigger than a majestic mountain on this planet. However, a small light dot was stabbing into his lower abdomen like a sharp needle. It was Jin Yu. He didn't expect that Jin Yu would attack him at this moment. She had aimed at his lower abdomen where his god power ancient tree was situated. She wanted to destroy his source of energy. Good. Shi Yang suddenly grinned and his massive body shrank all of a sudden. While shrinking, a black hole flew out of his mouth that turned into a small dot before flashing and disappearing. A black dot quietly flashed like a black pawn right at his lower abdomen, shortly swallowing the little light dot. Swoosh. Swoosh. The fierce swallowing power arose from that black dot like the mouth of a demon with unlimited greed, seemingly wanting to swallow the entire world. Jin Yu discolored. You do know the devouring power Upanishad, but if you want to swallow, I will let you eat your full. Several thousand secret treasures exploded, turning into thunder mines and lightning balls that exploded continually while aiming at Shi Yang's devouring black hole. Edgar taught me this. Rumble. 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 Constant explosions arose from the black hole, which eventually shattered. Shi Yang felt a twinge in his soul, his face aghast. Chapter 1560, The Second Sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. Chapter 1560, The Second Sky of Territory Ancestor Realm __. You think I didn't prepare anything? Naive. Before I came here, I studied you with Edgar and Yuan Zhu, and I know your secrets. Except for the fact that we don't know where your soul comes from, we know about your power Upanishads, body level, and even that marvelous soul altar. Jin Yu wore a cold face, urging the myriad shape tribe's innate supernatural ability. She had turned into a small light dot like a firefly, sticking on Shi Yang's lower abdomen. The devouring black hole was shattered by the explosion of so many mines and the resultant shockwaves. Previously, it was filled with dregs of heaven and earth, but now, it finally shattered under the fierce explosions. Jin Yu seized the chance and stabbed at Shi Yang's god power ancient tree. A cold light appeared in the world of Shi Yang's god power ancient tree like a lightning strike across the world. In this center of power, the fountainhead of energy, Jin Yu had created numerous lightning strikes, using a terrifying destructive power to attack the branches of the god power ancient tree. Crack. 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 Crystal branches filled with pure energy were broken and a large amount of energy gushed out, no longer under Shi Yang's control. Almost at the same time, Cantasy got the message from Jin Yu's soul as well. She instantly grabbed the chance to expand her tornado. That tornado became a massive smoke column that reached the void. Shi Yang's soul was vaguely seen at the head of the blood dragons. It was the magical abilities of the soul control power Upanishad and the negative energy. However, at this moment, they were stirred into shattering by the 100 meters wide wind blades. The blood dragons didn't have more energy to supplement, so they collapsed slowly. Boom! The first blood dragon exploded, turning into a blood mist. Meanwhile, the tornado spun rapidly, refining it bit by bit. Inside the massive tornado, Cantacy was cheered up. Hundreds of smaller tornadoes hovered by her like the spinning bird nests. Controlled by profound technique, they continued to attack the blood dragons. Slowly, the blood dragons were killed, turning into blood mist and vanishing. The negative emotions those dragons had carried also dispersed. Cantacy's eyes sparkled. Her lips curled coldly, her ample bosom shivering as she stood up. Countless tornadoes beside her body screamed. She was like a goddess of wind who brought harsh gusts to this world to destroy Shiyang. Just as Shiyang's god power ancient tree was damaged by Zhinayu, Cantacy's threat had come soon after. He had to face the enemies inside and outside, and his situation was really perilous. From a distance, Mai Ji saw a world-tearing tornado emerge as Shiyang's savage body shrank. Her charming face turned resolute and cruel. "Fan de Lei, I'll risk my life with you. If you want to die with me, just try to stop me. I do want to see if you have such powers." Sizzle. Sizzle. A cold white mist emitted from Mai Ji's graceful body as she turned into a beautiful icy woman amidst the ice. Her entire body was now a beautiful ice crystal. She looked like an exquisite ice sculpture God had created in the bitter winter, which was arrogant, ruthless, and cold. Nobody dared to look at her. At that moment, Fan de Lei's star seal was broken instantly while a magical absolute beginning original symbol arose above Mai Ji's head. It released a terrifying coldness that froze the entire world. With her as the center, the surroundings were frozen at a speed naked eyes could observe. Crack, crack, crack. The roof of the palace suddenly grew crystal columns, and the entire palace slowly became a massive, majestic ice palace. Even the tiles on the ground were frozen. Beautiful snowflakes fell from the void, each of them carrying Mai Ji's resolution. Heaven and earth were frozen, making this world a snowy, frosty white world. Mai Ji was truly the goddess of ice. As Fan de Lei paled in fright, she said coldly, "I used to consider you my senior, but from now on, you and I are arch-enemies. Because of your own desire, you betrayed your own kind. You're the Phantom Clan's traitor. On behalf of Granny, I announce that you are exiled from the Phantom Clan." Hearing her, Fan de Lei turned ashen, his lips shivering. However, Mai Ji didn't know if it was because he was enraged or chilled. "Madam Mai Ji! Madam Mai Ji! You got rid of him." The Phantom Clan fellows screamed and cheered. However, they also yelled and booed at Fan de Lei angrily. Crack, crack, crack. Mai Ji used her ice body, soaring up into the sky and heading toward Cantacy. Her ice sculpture-like body looked beautiful but gloomy in the void. Wherever she passed, space cracks were closed because of freezing up. Fan de Lei checked and found that the icy energy from Mai Ji was utterly terrifying. Even if he risked his life with her, he couldn't endure it. The attack would be strikingly unimaginable. Mai Ji was truly risking her life. For Shiyang, Mai Ji had unexpectedly risked her life. She didn't care about death, using all of her power. Her resolute action was like an icy arrow thrusting into Fan de Lei's chest, who felt more agitated than being attacked physically. Seeing Mai Ji glide past him to reach Cantacy, he gritted his teeth as he poured his anger on Cantacy. He thought that if Cantacy hadn't forced him, the relationship between him and Mai Ji wouldn't have turned worse. He also hated Cantacy for trying to make Shiyang throw his anger on him, who ended up attacking him so savagely. "Die. All of you should die." Clenching his jaw, Fan de Lei looked frightfully sinister. He shouted at Cantacy and Mai Ji as if he hated that he couldn't kill them both. "Mai Ji, are you crazy?" Cantacy was on her way to kill Shiyang when she recognized that her surroundings were now a world of snow. She saw Mai Ji turn into an ice statue, burning her vitality to urge all of her power. The cold energy had frozen the entire place, including the space cracks. This power made Cantacy discolor in fear. Mai Ji didn't say anything, just gazing at Cantasy while furiously urging her ice power Upanishad. Countless ice mountain grew from the land, turning into several thousand meters long swords that aimed at the latter. The place was covered with a terrible snowstorm, covering Cantasy. The entire world was vague and hazy amidst the white snow. Added with Cantasy's howling tornadoes, this territory had become so maliciously harsh. The members of the Phantom Clan had their vision blurred in this world of snow and storm, only able to hear some earth-shaking explosions and nothing else. But they all knew that Mai Ji was only at the first sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. Of course, she wasn't an equal match for Cantasy. They also knew that with each passing minute Mai Ji acted persistently, she was 1 minute closer to her death. Madam Mai Ji. Many young men of the Phantom Clan called Mai Ji's name while sobbing, their faces twisted in agony. They faced the sky, looking at Shi Yang. Behind the terrifying snowstorm, Shi Yang had returned to his normal shape, his face distorting as if he was struggling against his inner demons. He didn't look like he was aware of the surroundings. For you, this woman doesn't care about her life, burning her vitality. I'm so surprised, though. Jean Ayu's voice arose from his lower abdomen. If she hadn't stopped Cantasy, you would have died already. But, what's it good for? How long can she stop Cantasy for? She courts death. Boom. 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 Jean Ayu was destroying many branches of Shi Yang's god power ancient tree, pieces of crystals and energy scattered everywhere. At that instant, a dazzling light shot out of the power Upanishad symbol tower, emerging in Shi Yang's sea of consciousness. That light pierced through the void, gliding across many spaces before it entered his lower abdomen, where was situated the magical world of his god power ancient tree. Unimaginable. The strong light acted as if it contained Shi Yang's soul consciousness, hitting Jean Ayu precisely. In this endless sea of stars, no race, creature, planet, or divine weapon could resist this light. As soon as the light pierced through Jean Ayu, she was left with a massive hole in her chest. It was like a sword had stabbed into a thin sheet of paper. Jean Ayu's chest was pierced through easily and smoothly. This light, aura, my goodness. Jean Ayu clutched her chest in fear inside Shi Yang's god power ancient tree. However, as soon as she touched that light, her fingers were cut off. She screeched in agony, trying to back off to get rid of that light. I finally know why my pure gold spirit ants perished. Trying her best to urge the power Upanishads and ignore the hole in her chest, she slowly faded away like a faint cloud in the sunshine, vanishing completely. Pure, refined energy gushed from Shi Yang's acupuncture points like 720 streams connecting with the god power ancient. The torrential, unceasing energy soon healed the damaged god power ancient tree. Shortly, the broken branches were regrowing fast. Receiving the immense god power, the god power ancient tree recovered and started growing magically. The growing god power ancient tree was the most significant appearance of another breakthrough. At the first sky of Territory Ancestor Realm, Shi Yang had broken the most challenging bottleneck. Boom. Shi Yang's soul altar was shaking while his sea of consciousness twirled fiercely. Amidst the lightning strikes, his soul consciousness began to condense. The soul pond in the sea of consciousness was boiling strangely as the black hole in the territory was dripping original soul energy fluid into the pond. The original soul energy fluid was refined after a hard process. As his realm was improved, his refining speed was accelerated 10 times. Shortly, the energy he had swallowed recently was refined thoroughly into the purest energy in his god power ancient tree, sea of consciousness, and the soul pond. Chapter 1561 Invincible. Invincible. Chapter 1561 Invincible. Invincible __. Cough. Cough. Jean Ayu reappeared outside, her slim body shivering. She clutched her chest and coughed her lungs out, dark blood slowly dripping through the slits between her fingers. She had fear in her eyes for the first time as she looked at Shi Yang, who was like a still rock, from a distance. However, she didn't dare to seize the chance and attack him. Slowly, a terrifying aura arose by Shi Yang. Jean Ayu could feel him getting stronger after each second. Jean Ayu felt insecure, hesitating whether to leave or stay. At the same time, she was baffled. Even though she was pierced through, her body wouldn't perish because of the horrible wound. But, if she continued to fight, the wound would be torn further. It was so bad that she had planned a lot of things but now had to run away helter-skelter. She didn't want it, as she still wanted to try a battle with Shi Yang. She turned to watch the battle between Cantacy and Mai Ji instinctively. It was a place where wind and snow twirled, and she couldn't see clearly. Although the others couldn't watch the battle because of the hindered vision, it wasn't really tough for Zhen'er Yu at the second sky of Territory Ancestor Realm. She observed for a while and felt a little safer as she found that Cantacy had the upper hand in that snowy, windy area. Mai Ji was burning her life to fight, and would be killed soon. She saw a slight hope, so she was more determined to stay. Right at this moment, Shi Yang suddenly opened his eyes, which contained a mysterious, dark area. It seemed to be the borderless sea of stars where were hid the ultimate secret of this world. That light column. Zhen'er Yu was shaken hard. She drilled in Shi Yang's eyes as unlimited desire churned in her heart. Oh, still got the guts to linger. Ha ha. Shi Yang licked the corners of his mouth, grinning fiendishly. His eyes weren't crimson anymore, his face harsh and brutal. He appeared with no sign of bedevilment. Almost at the same time, numerous massive space sabers emerged in the void of the Phantom Clan, uniting into a several thousand meters tall saber. It was a giant space sword. Shi Yang lifted his head up. The giant space sword hovered above his head, halving the void there. He raised a finger, pointing at Zhen'er Yu. As a result, the space broadsword hacked on Zhen'er Yu, the terrifying space energy splitting the space here. Inside that massive space slit was the cold and desolate aura that chilled and frightened people to their souls. Territory Ancestor. Second sky of Territory Ancestor. He has broken through. Zhen'er Yu sighed bitterly while looking at the space broadsword slashing across the void. While pondering, she made a quick decision, turning into a thin wisp of smoke and disappearing. Shi Yang hovered still, his face indifferent. Not that simple. The giant space sword was utterly sharp as it tore the space, flying after Zhen'er Yu. The space in its way was split apart, and a formidable trench was created as the sword moved. It looked like a world of eternal loneliness was created by his slash. Shi Yang didn't mind the space sword much as he had left a soul seal on it. It could kill the enemy on its own. He opened his eyes, gazing at the turbulent area of wind and snow where Cantacy and Mai Ji were fighting. Hurry. Save Madame Mai Ji. She's in danger. Don't just stand and stare. Seeing Shi Yang awaken, the Phantom Clan fellows screamed crazily, asking him to help Mai Ji. He checked and found that Fan de Lei had disappeared unbeknownst to everyone. He didn't know that after Zhen'er Yu got her chest punctured and reappeared outside, Fan de Lei sensed the dangerous situation and didn't hesitate to leave with his subordinates. Even Zhen'er Yu at the second sky of Territory Ancestor Realm, one of the strongest experts in this world, was wounded badly. Moreover, as Fan de Lei had tasted Shi Yang's evil deeds, how could he dare to linger? Go. Find and kill Fan de Lei. Shi Yang let out a low-pitched shout as he touched his glabella, causing a meteor to fly out, gliding far away. It was the Skyfall Star River. After Shi Yang had created the space broadsword to chase after Zhen'er Yu and used the Skyfall Star River to deal with Fan de Lei, he headed to the area where Cantacy and Mai Ji were fighting with an icy expression. The Phantom Clan fellows proactively made way for him. They were worried, and wished that he could move faster. Crack, crack, crack. Strange energy waves came as if some invisible walls were pressing toward Cantacy and Mai Ji, trying to lock that area. Inside the chaotic area, Cantacy were overwhelming while Mai Ji, with her bold and fearless power, was trying to resist her. Mai Ji had turned into a beautiful ice sculpture which was so crystal clear and noble that nothing could compare with her. She had used her vitality to trigger her potential, using countless ice columns, arrows, and sabers to attack Cantacy in that world of snowstorm. It wasn't that Cantacy didn't want to leave, she couldn't leave because of Mai Ji's entanglement. She didn't want to pay with a wounded body to escape with a secret technique. Thus, they were still battling. However, when she heard the strange noise, she finally discolored. As the others thought that Shi Yang was moving slowly, Cantacy knew what those strange space energy ripples were. Shi Yang was strolling and not hurried. It wasn't that he didn't want to rush, he was actually using space energy to lock the space over their first. He wanted to capture Cantacy like picking up a crab inside a net. Cantacy was panicking. Zhenyu had escaped and Fan De Lei had run away. She knew that Shi Yang had had something earth-shaking happen to him. She was sure that Shi Yang was very formidable now. Otherwise, why would Zhenyu, one of the 10 great territory ancestors, have to run without a known reason? Hearing the noises of space being tightened, Cantacy gritted her teeth. She didn't care about a massive ice saber hitting her, so the pressure made her vomit blood, and her body began bleeding. As soon as a drop of her blood oozed out, it exploded into a blood tornado. The tornado covered her while spinning furiously. Gusts of strong wind and tornadoes burst off in this world of snow and wind, creating layers of thick wind that covered her. When Shi Yang got in there, that hazy area subsided and became clearer to the eyes. Mai Ji's body shook as if she was about to fall, her body seeming like a shattering ice statue. She screamed, "Cantacy wants to run away." The massive tornado fiercely headed toward the infinite void while she hadn't finished talking. Shi Yang sneered, clasping his hands. Right after that, a massive hand seal congregated from evil powers like death, desperation, corrosion, etc., was cast above the tornado. The hand seal fell into the tornado, moving deeper inside. All of a sudden, a chain of explosions arose from the tornado as an earth-destroying energy rippled out, chilling the onlookers. Meanwhile, Cantacy's shrill scream sounded from the tornado. "Shi Yang, you and I can't stand under the same sky." Boom. The tornado went off and dispersed fast, but Cantacy wasn't in there. No one knew where she was gone. Anyway, blood sprinkled from the exploding tornado. The ground covered in ice and snow now was decorated with dots of blood. Apparently, although Cantacy had escaped, she couldn't dodge Shi Yang's bold strike fully. Looking at the blood on the ground, the others knew that her wounds were severe. If Mai Ji didn't need vitality supplementation, I would hunt you down even if you ran to the other end of this universe, Shi Yang said, and then appeared by Mai Ji all of a sudden. At this moment, Mai Ji's ice was melting. After she relaxed, she seemed no longer able to bear the backlash, withering like a dying tree. It was the sign of wasting too much vitality. "Madam Mai Ji, please, stay with us." The warriors of the Phantom clan hurried to her. A senile woman fumbled with some aromatic pellets, trying to worm through the crowd to give them to Mai Ji. "Move," Shi Yang shouted, his face cold. An invisible energy gushed from his body, and the incoming members of the Phantom clan were blown backward as if someone had grabbed them by the nape of their necks and hurled them away. "What did you do? I want to save Mai Ji. Why did you hinder me?" The old woman was enraged. She rolled her sleeves up as she was about to attack Shi Yang. "You can't help her," Shi Yang frowned. "Do you think you can? I manage the pellets of the Phantom clan. The most precious pellets and medicines are in my hands. If I can't save her, who can?" The old woman panted furiously. "Aunt Fang, don't be hot-tempered. Just let him do it." Mai Ji's ice melted completely, revealing her ashen face as she tried to comfort the old woman. The woman hesitated. However, at this moment, Shi Yang's left hand was placed on his chest, and an immense vitality was sucked out of his body in the form of an ivory stream of mist. A white ball filled with vitality was congregated, arousing the members of the Phantom clan around. As long as they sniffed the fragrance from the life ball, they felt vigorous as if their bodies were quenched one more time. The entire crowd of the Phantom clan was excited with bright eyes. The old woman quivered while mumbling, "The most magical life energy. It's the best way to heal anyway." She didn't hinder Shi Yang anymore and frowned while shouting at the others. "Get lost. Do not inhale the vitality from that life ball. It's the energy to save a life. You'll roll away." As she was screaming, the greedy fellows who were inhaling the vitality awakened. They then clumsily moved away, not even daring to breathe. "Absorb it and get well soon," Shi Yang said softly as the crystal life ball landed on Mai Ji's round bosom, entering her heart. Mai Ji's drained vitality was refilled rapidly. Her skin glowed in good health, her ashen face regaining its color. Chapter 1562 Shoulder Great Responsibilities. Chapter 1562 Shoulder Great Responsibilities __. A thin, blue mist was moving fast across the icy, dark space, with Jinayu's body shrunk within. She placed a hand on her chest, holding a chestnut-like pellet. The gold pellet had attached to the veins on her wounds, the aroma moving from the pellet to her blood. Her wound had stopped bleeding by now, and with the energy from the pellet, she slowly regained color on her face. Filled with fear, she was running at her max speed while curing herself. At the same time, she repeatedly turned her head to check. And every time she did that, her face turned more solemn, her insecurity swelling. A massive sword made of space energy was flying after her, powerful enough to tear the void and leave many space trenches. The cold and desolate aura accumulated after billions of years came out of the space cracks as wanting to bring this world to eternal death. Jinayu could see Shi Yang's soul seal at the tip of the sword. It meant that Shi Yang had spent a wisp of his soul and spirit on this sword to use it to hunt her down. Spinning asteroids suddenly appeared in Jinayu's vision. She exhaled in relief, hastily getting inside that area. The asteroids were as massive as a mountain, an island, or even a whole nation. They kept a specific distance between each other. Those asteroids had many colors, including crimson, blue, and many others. They were moving under the effect of some magnetic fields. As soon as Jinayu got into the asteroid field, she slowed down. She knew that this field of asteroids was created by the soul magnetic field of a territory ancestor after he was gone for many years. The twisted magnetic field here had attracted many asteroids with strange energies, able to make low-realm warriors lose their tracks in this maze. She knew this place. As soon as she came to the Phantom Clan, she had already studied the surroundings. This area was her last vein to escape as she had arranged something here. Swoosh! Jinayu had turned into a thin mist, moving between the madly spinning asteroids. A hundreds of miles wide, lemon-yellow asteroid was prominent in this place. This asteroid had many rock columns installed in accordance with the formation of 8 diagrams. From a distance, the asteroid glowed with a gold light due to the fierce surging energy. Jinayu landed on a rock column on the yellow asteroid, which suddenly shook hard. The gold halo surged and stimulated the other rock columns to emit the sky-reaching gold halos, together creating a sea of gold light. The members of the Myriad Shape tribe appeared from those rock columns. There were hundreds of them, and they were all at the high realms. As soon as they arrived, they cheered, "Welcome back, matriarch. Gather our forces, open the formation to teleport quickly." Jinayu ordered resolutely, asking her fellows to prepare quickly. Several hundred warriors of the Myriad Shape tribe urged their energies, pouring them into the rock columns. Shortly, the earth-shaking energy in the rock columns gathered, shaking the asteroid while the smaller ones around them exploded loudly. Layers of golden light expanded on the surface of the yellow asteroid, covering it completely. Strangely, as the gold light was expanding, the asteroid shrank as if it had inherited the innate power of the Myriad Shape tribe and could resize freely. Jinayu wore a cold and serious face. She didn't dare to relax, watching the area behind them cautiously. Boom! 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 The ear-piercing explosions echoed as the small asteroids behind them exploded along with the arrival of the dazzling sword, which had crushed all the asteroids in its way into powder. With a terrifying threat, it attacked directly and forcefully. The power that could tear the space barged into the golden halo that had just been formed. Crack! Crack! Just like a broken eggshell, the dazzling golden halo resounded crunchy crackling. As golden sparks were sent everywhere, dozens of Myriad Shape tribe fellows perished, turning into mist and smoke, not even having the time to shriek. After this attack, the saber light made of space energy had its power reduced, dimming out slowly. The giant space saber attacked one more time and vanished afterward, but the golden halo was shattered along with it. As a result, more than 30 members of the Myriad Shape tribe were killed directly. Shi Yang, we don't stand under the same sky. I'm sure I will crush your bones. Blood trickled down the corners of Zhenayu's mouth as she stood on a rock column and gritted her teeth. Her bone-deep resentment glided across space, attacking Shi Yang. Because of her greed, the small population of the Myriad Shape Tribe had lost 1/5 of their members, most of whom were elites. Zhenayu had to bear a terrible pain in her heart, feeling so regretful. Crush my bones? Haha, you won't have a chance. Shi Yang put my Ji down and stood up while sneering at the sky, giving an answer to Zhenayu's threat. At the same time, he rose one hand, grabbing something the void. A brilliant galaxy came from a deep region of the hazy space. It was the Skyfall Star River covered with fresh blood. Shi Yang had sent this weapon to chase after Fan de Lei. It was blood from Fan de Lei. The Skyfall Star River shook, causing drops of blood to fall like the red pearl with dark red halos. They rained on many members of the Phantom Clan who were surprised initially, then became thrilled. The Territory Ancestors' blood is really good for you to refine your power and transform your body. Shi Yang grinned. Thank you, bro. Thank you, haha. Great. Many members of the Phantom Clan understood the magical effects of the blood, so they screamed and cheered. The woman my Ji had called Aunt Fang looked worried. She hesitated and then asked anxiously, what did you do to Fan de Lei? No matter what, he's a member of our Phantom Clan. He's one of our rare territory ancestors. Did you kill him? The people who had cheered wore a complicated face, keeping silent. They were all discontented with Fan de Lei. They understood that Fan de Lei deserved death, but still, they would feel sad if he was killed. This prominent man had a reputation. Even if he had done something wrong, he shouldn't have been killed as a punishment. Mai Ji slowly regained color on her face, her vitality getting stronger. She opened her eyes, which conveyed a deep sorrow. Fan de Lei and I used to live in a small tribe. He took good care of me. Sigh, I had never thought that we would turn like water and fire one day. Don't worry, focus on your recovery. He's not dead yet. My Skyfall Star River only made him unable to scheme further for a short time. I didn't kill him, Shi Yang muttered. Hearing him, many members of the Phantom Clan exhaled in relief. Although they were discontented with Fan de Lei, they didn't want to see him killed by an outsider like Shi Yang. Even Mai Ji couldn't attack someone who used to take care of her. Aunt Fang, please go to the information center to contact Granny. Mai Ji suddenly got something in her mind, her countenance restless. Cantacy and Fan de Lei dared to wreak havoc here. I'm sure there would be something going on at her place as well. You tell her to be more cautious. Aunt Fang and many senior members of the Phantom Clan got it, so they hurried to go to the control center at their fastest pace. Previously, Cantacy and Fan de Lei's people had controlled their information center, leaving the information control with many shattered crystals. However, the main soundstones still functioned well. Shortly, Aunt Fang and some members of the Phantom Clan arrived at the center, working in there diligently. Shi Yang frowned while waiting. He also wanted to know about Montesi's situation. Minutes later, Aunt Fang and the other members returned with ashen faces. Couldn't contact them. They had left with a dozen battleships, each of them equipped with a unique sound stone. None of them work now. Hearing this, the members of the Phantom Clan turned worried. Apparently, Montesi and her subordinates were in big trouble. Otherwise, they could have contacted at least one of the battleships. It meant that all of them were destroyed. We must help Madame Montesi. We must know what had happened. Let's find them. The Phantom Clan fellows made up their minds quickly, screaming and yelling. Even though Mai Ji hadn't recovered yet, she forced herself to stop her progress, talking. I'm sure their location was disclosed. That's how the others could ambush her. As she couldn't contact us, her situation isn't good indeed. Taking a deep breath, Mai Ji put on a desperate face. Serene Prison and the others are the attackers. They have joined hands. She had understood it right away. Mai Ji's ancestral land was shaken hard, and she herself was wounded. Cantacy and Fan de Lei had betrayed them, leaving with a fraction of their warriors. They didn't have a leader now. If Montesi were in danger, it would be a serious strike to the Phantom Clan, which would make them collapse utterly. All of this happened were because of you. I think you should give us justice. Aunt Fang pulled a serious face, her eyes glaring into Shi Yang's. My clan is at the critical moment between life and death. To protect you, we've had to pay a drastic price. You should fight for us, right? All the members of the Phantom clan gazed at Shi Yang, their longing eyes and begging faces unconcealed. They were baffled when they saw Shi Yang's power today. He had defeated Jinar Yu, one of the 10 great territory ancestors, and also shooed away Fan de Lei and Cantasy. His power was actually at the top of this sea domain of nihility. Moreover, it was rumored that Shi Yang had a good relationship with the Whitebone clan, and he even had a secret agreement with the mysterious Sky clan. If he helped them, the Phantom clan could revive and thrive again. You have to help us, Mai Ji stooped and begged. It is indeed my responsibility. Shi Yang pressed each word as the others were waiting for his answer with great expectations, and Mai Ji was begging him. Chapter 1563, Is it Doomsday? Chapter 1563, Is it Doomsday, In a remote corner of the sea domain of nihility. It was a place where red clouds gathered, many volcanoes growing on that sea of clouds. It looked bright from a far distance due to the sparks and fire because each volcano here was actually a furnace. Many warriors cultivating fire power Upanishad were scattered by the mouths of the fiery volcanoes. They inhaled and exhaled smoke and fire to quench their bodies or weapons. They all had skin like the burning red rocks, their hair red and bodies average. They were the typical members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. This place was called the Volcano Cloud Sea, a unique area in the sea domain of nihility. Most of the blacksmiths of the Heavenly Craftsman clan would stay in this area to cultivate and forge weapons, as this volcano area was the natural furnace that could melt even the hardest metals, allowing them to make them exquisite weapons. At the beginning, members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan had considered this area was their only workshop. However, as they got stronger and grew further, they found more suitable areas in foreign territories in the sea domain. Gradually, many experts of the Heavenly Craftsman clan had scattered. No matter what, the Volcano Cloud Sea was still one of the biggest workshops of the Heavenly Craftsman clan until today. This workshop wasn't far from the Whitebone clan and the Phantom clan. The leaders of the Heavenly Craftsman clan here also wanted to establish good relationships with the Phantom clan and the Whitebone clan. They had lived and cultivated in peace and harmony with the other two clans for so many years. Tam was a warrior at the Third Sky of Immortal Realm, also an excellent blacksmith of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. He was in charge of this workshop, teaching the members of his clan how to forge and protect this place. At this moment, Tam was sitting on a red iron crystal platform above the mouth of a several thousand meters tall volcano, his entire body burning vibrantly. Between his hands, a beautiful ice blue hammer was spinning inside smoke and fire. The scorching flames flew up from the volcano underneath and twirled around Tam's body like snakes, which increased his fire power. Slowly, many tiny patterns appeared on the hammer. Although the little patterns were still changing and their final forms hadn't confirmed yet, the hammer was emitting a strange coldness in the fiery flame. It was so strange, indeed. Around 100 young members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan were watching their grandmaster's techniques. They concentrated so hard that they didn't dare to breathe loudly. Oh look! Look at the sky! All of a sudden, a member of the Heavenly Craftsman clan screamed as he couldn't help it. His area was only filled with the boop sounds of the burning flame, thus, his scream was ear-piercing. The hammer in Tam's hands shivered as if it was affected. He was angry and wanted to scold the young man who had just screamed. However, he was attracted by the fearful eyes of the man looking at the sky. Tam lifted his head, looking at the sky. His face changed, and he also shouted, "Madame Montesi." Deep inside the flaming red clouds several thousand meters above their heads, a petite body appeared. It was Montesi. Her entire body was gory, and she had some small cuts on her little face. At the same time, her clothes were torn like rags. She was Montesi, the strongest expert of the Phantom clan, one of the 10 territory ancestors of this sea of stars. Her name could shake the sky. Many creatures were frightened when they saw her instinctively. But today, she seemed to have run helter-skelter, and appeared to be badly hurt. Tom was startled. He pondered for a moment and then shouted, "Get lost, y'all." Pausing his forging, Tom asked the others to move away. He stood respectfully by the mouth of the volcano, talking anxiously. "I'm Tom of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. Greetings, Madame Montesi. I wonder what do you need us to work on for you? I want to borrow your teleport formation at the core of the volcano." Montesi's voice was weak. She answered him and immediately aimed at the volcano by Tom. Tom was filled with fear. The Heavenly Craftsman clan had spent a lot of efforts to build a teleport formation that connected directly to a secret place of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. They had kept this secret for years, and only the core members of the clan knew about this formation. Why did Montesi know about it? Moreover, that teleport formation led to a remote area, which was so far away from the Phantom clan. What happened to Montesi that she wanted to use the Heavenly Craftsman clan's teleport formation to that concealed area? Teacher, hurry up. Look at the sky. What's going on? The members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan all lifted their heads to look at the sky, their faces utterly frightened and their bodies quivering. Battleships emerged, packing their sky. There were tens of thousands of battleships, each of them carrying 1,000 warriors. Thus, the total number of warriors on those battleships was extremely terrifying. It wasn't what had frightened them. They were petrified when they saw the brocade flags on those battleships, which were the drawings of giant monsters, dark abysses, packed soul seas, and the sky-reaching demon auras. Those were the battleships of the Devouring Clan, Ancient Monster Clan, Soul Clan, and Black Demon Clan. The four clans had arrived. Banners with Serene Prison, Edgar, Rupert, and Beverly's crests hovered in front of their fleet. It meant that the strongest experts of the four clans were here. The earth-destroying auras came from the sky, shaking the fellows of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. They didn't know what was going on. This place was relatively rural, and the blacksmiths here didn't pay attention to the general situation of the galaxy out there, or what had just happened in the sea domain of Nihility recently. But Tom knew something. Seeing the fleets coming like clusters of black clouds that were stretching thousands of miles in the void, and connecting it to Montesi's wounds, he immediately knew what had happened to the latter. "Tom, if you let her escape through your teleport formation, your Heavenly Craftsman clan will be erased. All the members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan scattered around the universe will be hunted down. We won't spare a single fellow of your race." Behind Edgar was the endless darkness where the members of the Devouring clan were hidden. He observed while talking coldly. "This is the battle between the 7 clans, so you guys better not interfere." "You don't want to know the consequences," said Rupert. "Anyone who dares go against us will have to die," Beverly said in his coldest and harshest voice. Serene Prison didn't talk to the members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. He only gazed at Montesi landing on the mouth of the volcano, talking indifferently. "You can't leave. On the way here, we've killed all of your companions. You are alone now. You could come here because of your time power Upanishad. As you are engaging in a battle of attrition with the 4 of us, how can you defeat us?" On the way to this area, every time they were about to catch Montesi, they would feel dizzy, and their souls would get flustered. After they had recovered, they would find themselves at the location they used to be 40 seconds ago, which would lengthen the distance between them and Montesi. Every time Montesi used her power to bring them back dozens of seconds ago to stretch the distance between them, she could run a little further. Serene Prison and the others knew that even if Montesi was strong, she couldn't endure using her power for a long time. They knew this from the wounds on her body. Actually, those wounds weren't created by Serene Prison. It was the price she had to pay for rewinding time. She had to use her energy significantly. They weren't hurried but happy as Montesi did that. What they were afraid the most was that Montesi, in her frustration, would accumulate her best power to fight against them. Once Montesi exploded her soul altar to use time power Upanishad for the last time, she would distort the time current, which could make them pay a terrifying price. Rumors said that the ultimate time power Upanishad could bring the enemies to the past when they were the most vulnerable. As Serene Prison and the other 3 were at the second sky of Territory Ancestor Realm, they had accumulated for years to reach their current attainment. If Montesi took risks and neglected her life to rewind time to thousands of years ago, Serene Prison and the others would have their realm reduced. Tens of thousands of years ago, Serene Prison and the other three were at the incipient God realm or immortal realm. If it ended up happening, they would vomit blood in anger. They would need tens of thousands of years to accumulate energy to re-reach their current realms. It wasn't the result they wanted to see. For this reason, they didn't dare to force her. Quite the contrary, they hoped that Montesi had some hope to continue to consume her soul energy and rewind for a short time like she had done. At the moment her soul pond was drained, they would join hands to control her or even kill her directly. They were cautious to plan thoroughly, and they thought that they could carry on their plan for a while. However, Montesi came here with the plan to use the secret formation of the Heavenly Craftsman clan to run away. This would destroy their plan completely. They had to stop her. If Montesi left, the consequences would be terrible. If Montesi leaves, your Heavenly Craftsman clan will be obliterated, Beverly coldly reminded them from the sky. All the members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan here were screaming and screeching in fright. They had stated clearly that they wanted to obliterate the entire Heavenly Craftsman clan, and not just the members of this clan in this volcano cloud sea. If Montesi left, their entire race would be burned. They couldn't afford this price. The strongest experts of the Soul Clan, Devouring Clan, Black Demon Clan, and Ancient Monster Clan, the four territory ancestors had said that they did have the power to erase the entire Heavenly Craftsman clan. After Tom was bewildered for a while, he found that Montesi had entered the volcano. As his fellows were screaming frantically, he didn't have another option. No. The fire blended with his blood flew in the air and then sprinkled on the volcano. Boom. 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 The teleport formation inside the volcano was triggered and created a connection with his soul. Madam Montesi, I can't let you go. My Heavenly Craftsman clan can't be obliterated because of me. I'm sorry. Tom screamed and forcefully pulled one of his arms off. Crack. Crack. The teleport formation inside the extinct volcano was refined with his blood, so it had a magical connection with his body. After he had torn off one of his arms, the teleport formation inside the mountain exploded partially. At this moment, a teleport formation hovering above a lava pond had a corner of its exploded. Montesi had come to this place already. But before she could step on the teleport formation, it had broken. Moreover, the broken part was so big that she couldn't fix it. She pulled a sad face, her eyes desperate as she mumbled to herself, "Is it true that God wants to destroy me here?" If Tom had cut only 5 of his fingers, this teleport formation wouldn't have been shattered that much, and she could have fixed it with her power. But to save his race, Tom had dismembered one of his arms, which had broken 1/4 of the teleport inside the mountain. She couldn't reverse it. Is it my fate? Montesi lifted her head to look through the mouth of the volcano. Through the thick, red flame, she saw countless battleships and the 4 of Serene Prison's group, but couldn't find any hope. Chapter 1564, Disseminate God Power. Chapter 1564, Disseminate God Power __. Tom of the Heavenly Craftsman clan was bleeding hard. The veins of his torn arm looked like wiggling worms, which made people numb. Standing on the edge of the volcano's mouth, the flame covered Tom as well. The members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan stood and watched Tom from a distance, feeling quite edgy. They weren't sure if Tom had destroyed the secret formation or not. The giant battleships hovered like a school of savage sharks. The 4 experts wore a cold, heartless face while the soul altars were emerging. It was someone using a soul technique to maintain some formation to subdue people's souls. The members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan felt a great fear as if a mountain was placed on their soul, which tied them down to where they were standing. They were sure that the members of the 4 clans had taken action in the dark. As long as Tom failed or didn't cooperate, what was awaiting them was a bloody and savage end. Obliterating the entire race wasn't just a threat. When the 4 clans joined hands, they could erase anything they wanted. "Sir, is it okay? Tom, is it okay? We can't afford any mistake." The members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan were hurried, shivering and stammering. Those at the low realms were sweating a lot as they slumped down. They could feel the advent of some bad news, frightened beyond their wits. Tom, you're a smart guy. I'm sure you won't fail us. Rupert of the Black Demon clan hovered in the sky like an ancient demogorgon. Bands of demon gas shot around him like alarming columns, which made people even more desperate. Should be no problem. The teleport formation down there was broken. Tom's lips were dry. He was fearful as he lifted his head to look at the 4 territory ancestors. He did it well. Serene Prison of the Soul Clan looked handsome, and he was the youngest among the 4. However, at this moment, he gave a faint smile for the first time while talking to Rupert. Montese's soul is still inside the volcano. She couldn't use the formation to escape. The members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan were relieved when they heard Serene Prison's voice, which was like the voice of an angel to them. They felt the pressure disappear as many of them fell to the ground, muttering happily, "Lucky. We're so lucky." Tom also relaxed. He winced as he held his cut limb and treated the wound as fast as he could. "You were lucky this time." Beverly of the Ancient Monster clan had a snake body. She coldly shouted as if she hated that they couldn't do the slaughter. She had successfully threatened the members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan, who didn't even dare to show their happy faces. "Show yourself, Montese. I think we can talk." Serene Prison's voice materialized and shot like a lightning strike toward the volcano. "You can't run. For the future of the Phantom clan, I think you should do something." Pausing for a while, he continued, "Didn't you always want to know how we could locate you? Yeah, it's time to tell you the truth." At this moment, Rupert, Edgar, Beverly, and hundreds of Immortal Realm experts of the 4 clans wore a cold face, quietly waiting for Montese to show herself. They knew that Montese couldn't leave through the volcano, and she was left with no choice. They silently watched the mouth of the volcano. The warriors of the Heavenly Craftsman clan looked embarrassed while the experts of the 4 clans acted as if they found joy in the other's misery. Some wore a mocking face while some were eager to try. They all had different countenances. In the dancing flames, Montese's petite body slowly rose up, steadying on the edge of the volcano. Her clothes looked like rags, her face pale and eyes dispirited. The most powerful expert of the Phantom clan, the territory ancestor, had emerged in such a pitiful condition. "Madam Montese, I'm so sorry. For the future of my clan, I didn't have a choice. Sorry." Seeing her, Tom couldn't control his emotions. He didn't care about his cut limb as kneeled on a burning rock and pounded his head on the ground continually. "You're not wrong. If I were you, I would do the same." Montese sighed, her face tired as she shook her head. "Montese, if you give up on the final battle, I will take my soul and dignity to commit that your Phantom clan won't be erased." After pondering briefly, Serene Prison sincerely offered. "Serene Prison," Rupert hissed. "Don't you know that you have to uproot them?" sneered Edgar. "I don't agree," Beverly shouted. The 3 experts objected to Serene Prison's suggestion. As they saw him commit, they cried to deny. Montese felt her heart sink when she heard Serene Prison's words. She knew something bad had already happened to the Phantom clan. Otherwise, Serene Prison wouldn't say so. The Phantom clan was one of the 7 great clans, and thus, she knew a lot of secrets. Even if she died, Cantacy, Fan DeLay, and Mai Ji still had the power to protect the Phantom clan. With the alliance with the Whitebone clan, they were still strong enough. But why did Serene Prison say that? "Except for Jeanna Yu, your sister Cantacy has an agreement with us. Fan DeLay and she have joined hands to control Mai Ji to create a chance for Jeanna Yu to kill Shiyang. If nothing unexpected has happened in the Phantom clan, Cantacy and Fan DeLay are controlling the Phantom clan now. Your people have lost the supreme power." Serene Prison pulled an indifferent face, narrating his guess. "When the Phantom clan loses you, how can they resist us? Your naive younger sister thought that after we killed you, we would recognize her position in the Phantom clan, and would spare the Phantom clan. Her talents and wisdom are far behind yours. We will crush and claim the Phantom clan's vast territory. We will kill your fellows, including Cantacy and Fan DeLay." Pausing for a while, Serene Prison checked Montesi's face twisting in agony and her shivered body, talking neither slowly nor fast. If nothing unexpected happens, the Phantom Clan would be uprooted within 100 years. Of course, if you kill yourself and save us some god power and efforts, I'm sure I can keep your bloodline alive. Without waiting for Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert to oppose, Serene Prison shouted as he turned to them. I think you all know how fierce Montesi is. If she detonates her soul altar to fight us, are you sure you won't be affected even a bit? Serene Prison shouted to suppress the other three, making them hesitant. No matter what, Montesi was a second sky of territory ancestor expert, one of the 10 great territory ancestors. She could rewind at least hundreds or thousands of years. The kind of harm she could do to them was something they could never predict. Listening to Serene Prison, the Heavenly Craftsman clan felt like they had just fallen into an icy chamber, shivers sent down their spines. The Phantom Clan was one of the 7 great clans, but now, they had to endure a catastrophe, reaching the edge of destruction. Then, what kind of changes would happen to this vast sea of stars in the near future? Looking at Montesi, they were sorrowful as if they were seeing the Heavenly Craftsman clan's future. So, what do you want? Serene Prison frowned while shouting at the others. Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert exchanged looks. After a while, Rupert said, we will keep 10,000 members of the Phantom Clan maximum. Moreover, none of them should have the realm higher than ethereal god realm. The 4 clans will surveil them. We must ensure that they don't rise again within the next 100,000 years. So cruel. Tom screamed inwardly as he bewilderedly looked at Montesi. The other 3 wanted to kill the Phantom Clan's hope. They didn't want the clan to grow again for dozens of thousands of years. Montesi felt powerless. She was struggling hard between keeping or destroying her clan. First, you should disseminate your god power, Serene Prison urged indifferently. I want you to pledge, all 4 of you. You have to use your ancestors' names to promise to keep your words. You have to spare lives of our Phantom Clan. Montesi suddenly lifted her head, her resolute and savage eyes gazing at Edgar, Beverly, and Rupert. She couldn't trust these 3. As she was gazing at them, Edgar and the others hesitated for a while before raising their hands to pledge, with Serene Prison taking his pledge the last. Montesi would kill herself to save the Phantom Clan's bloodline, the seeds of their future. Can you do it now? Smirked Beverly. Sure can. A forlorn, sorrowful aura emitted from Montesi's petite body. She was the strongest warrior of the Phantom Clan, one of the 10 great territory ancestors in this vast sea of stars. Between saving her race and destroying herself, she chose the former. Montesi's little girl appearance grew as she became taller while her hair grew like wild weeds. Her small body turned into a graceful, adult-sized body, which was so charming to the eyes. It looked like she had grown up within seconds, turning into a magnificent woman whose appearance wasn't less stunning than my G. No one was surprised because of her glamour. They all knew that after her god power was disseminated, Montesi could never rewind time again. She wouldn't be able to lock her youth. She would age fast, experiencing all stages of a woman's life. As time went by, she would become a pale skeleton in the end. After dozens of thousands of time, I can't believe I can see your original beauty again, Serene Prison said with emotion. Worth the title of the first beautiful lady of this vast sea of stars. Well, too bad that you'll be like a withered flower soon. To me, being able to witness you aging to death is a big joy in my life, Beverly mocked coldly, her face excited. Dozens of thousands of years ago, she and Montesi had debuted almost at the same time. Her monstrous beauty could even move the world, sinking many men. She used to think that she was the most beautiful woman at that time, which had nurtured her arrogance and pride. However, Montesi of the Phantom Clan appeared and plucked all the men's eyes away from her. Montesi had a peerless glamour, her innate talents, and the mysterious time power Upanishad. Everything the other possessed had totally overwhelmed Beverly. She had to endure this for tens of thousands of years. Beverly had embraced hatred toward Montesi for thousands of years, and it had never changed a bit. Today, as she could witness Montesi aging and dying, it was the happiest moment of her life. She was even a little impatient to see it. Chapter 1565 Use 1 to resist 10,000. Chapter 1565 Use 1 to resist 10,000 ___. Montese's appearance of a little girl changed just like a flower that had bloomed to the most beautiful moment. Time flew, and the flower withered. Everybody was looking at Montese at her prime. Her hair cascaded like a long waterfall, reaching her feet. Her exquisite face glowed with a mesmerizing halo like the strongest magnet that attracted people's souls. Her perfect body was a masterpiece of God, which didn't have a single flaw. The men of the Heavenly Craftsman clan, Soul clan, Black Demon clan, Ancient Monster clan, and Devouring clan had their eyes brightened. Many of them had just lived for several thousand years, and they hadn't seen Montese before. Even if they were lucky enough to see her once, they only saw her childlike appearance. They didn't know the real face of the most beautiful lady in the universe that year, and no one had ever told them that. Today, they finally saw her, the most perfect goddess that had walked out of their dreams. This woman was so stunning that she could move their hearts. They became breathless. Some were even emotional as they didn't want to see Montese losing her glamour like a shriveled flower. Sigh. Serene Prison stooped, absorbed in his emotions. Only he knew that he had given his heart to her dozens of thousands of years ago. He had chased after her for a long time, making her an untouchable goal of his. If time doesn't cease, no matter how beautiful the flower is, it will die in the end. Gradually, small changes happened to Montese's creamy skin. It didn't glow anymore, her cascading hair slowly turned grey, and eventually white. The others understood that as Montese was dispersing her god power, it had deactivated her time power Upanishad. As they were all watching Montese, Tom was suddenly shaken. He dropped his jaw, turning to watch the extinct volcano. He could feel clearly that the teleport formation in the center of the extinct volcano, which was connected with his body, was sending strange tremors. The teleport formation was mended, connecting to an unknown area. Tom was extremely frightened. He didn't know what was going on down there, his heart filled with great fear. He gawked and panted, wanting to alarm the others, but realizing that he couldn't utter a word. A beautiful figure slowly emerged from that volcano. She was wearing a violet dress with the hem stretched like a beautiful blooming flower on a magnificent purple royal throne. Her gorgeous face wore an arrogant smile. She elegantly stood up and sighed, then talked to Montese. "Silly little girl, did you really think that they would spare your clan if you killed yourself here?" Her voice had shaken people hard as they suddenly found another person hovering by Montese. Serene Prison, Beverly, and Rupert changed their faces. When they saw the woman, they felt an unknown fear. It was like instinct on seeing a creature at a higher level. They didn't know the woman who had just arrived. "Who are you?" Beverly asked. All of a sudden, she turned around, looking at Edgar while frowning, who was panic-stricken. "You know her?" Edgar used to come to Desolate Territory, and he knew the arrogant woman sitting on that purple crystal throne. Edgar took a deep breath and then shouted, "What do you want?" "You know. It's you." Montese was shocked, bewilderedly watching Z Yarrow. She was surprised a lot as well. When she was in Desolate Territory, she had met Z Yarrow the first time. When they traveled through the turbulent space basin, they had encountered her again. Montese knew that the latter was the absolute beginning creature called Hui, but she didn't know that Z Yarrow had occupied Hui. At this moment, she didn't know what to do. "Don't disseminate your god power." Z Yarrow rose one hand, pointing at Montese. From her slender finger, a beam of purple light shot out. It was crystal clear like jade, but it carried a magical energy from the fountainhead of this world. That energy crossed time and space to enter Montese, who had been aging all this while. However, at this moment, her eyes brightened as her senile body ceased. Her scattered god power turned into streams, miraculously congregating and rolling into her body. Shortly, she had recovered to her most magnificent stage. However, since she couldn't retrieve all the power, she couldn't turn back to her little girl appearance. She couldn't lock her time at that moment anymore. "Why? Why did you help me?" Feeling the changes in her body, Montese's beautiful face was baffled. "Aren't you our enemy?" When you wanted to take the Power Upanishad symbol tower in the chaotic space basin, I helped Shi Yang to resist you. Why? The sudden incident had puzzled all the warriors here. The members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan turned baffled, and the warriors of the Soul clan, Black Demon clan, Ancient Monster clan didn't know what to do. Only Edgar knew what had happened, and only he knew that Zi Yarrow today was her genuine self. She was the extreme expert that had swallowed even the absolute beginning creature. She's the absolute beginning creature Yuan Zhu had told us about. Edgar finally found his voice. Also, he had explained Montesi's doubt. She's from the same team as Shi Yang. Serene Prison, Rupert, and Beverly changed their countenances. They immediately knew that their situation wasn't good. They couldn't force Montesi to kill herself without a battle anymore. You and Shi Yang? Montesi coldly looked at Zi Yarrow. Zi Yarrow smiled like many flowers blooming at the same time, which brightened the dark sky in this area. Girl, you shouldn't ask much. You just need to know that your Phantom clan is all right. Don't worry. Shi Yang asked me to come here. Of course, I will make sure you're safe and sound. Then, she lifted her head to look at a spot in the sky where a cyan light dot appeared. That light dot swelled up shortly, turning into a world with thick heaven and earth energy. 12 snakes, which were her real body, stormed out of that world, filling this void. The extreme, endless pressure expanded, making Edgar, Serene Prison, and the others anxious. Swoosh, swoosh. The 12 snakes separated, each of them seeming like an infinite mountain range. The snakes spat 7-colored L lights, which then became the giant dragons attacking the battleships of the 4 clans. Horrible explosions, sounds of energy impact, and dazzling lights shooting everywhere erupted at the same time. Although the battleships of the 4 clans were tens of thousands of meters long, under the divine light attacks, they seemed to be made of thin paper. So vulnerable. The battleships that hadn't had time to activate their shields exploded shortly, sending their fragments everywhere. Inside the mists and smokes after the explosions, pieces of flesh fell, with soul altars floating away. As soon as Zi Yarrow emerged, she didn't talk much and just attacked. Right in front of the superb experts like Serene Prison, Edgar, Rupert, and Beverly, she directly attacked their troops. Meanwhile, 4 snakes twisted as they aimed at Serene Prison, Edgar, Rupert, and Beverly. The mysterious patterns on the snake's skin became magnificent halos with the utmost power of heaven and earth, attacking the 4 experts. For the time being, the entire space was filled with lightning strikes and thunderclaps. The 12 snakes had almost packed the whole place. The experts of the 4 clans, including so many powerful warriors, were attacked furiously by Zi Yarrow single-handedly. After parting from Shi Yang, Zi Yarrow had become so strong. She was really bold to resist 10,000 experts alone, including the 4 territory ancestors, without receiving any disadvantage. Montesi and the Heavenly Craftsman clan fellows were bewildered, shocked on seeing Zi Yarrow taking action. Get out here. Zi Yarrow wore a calm face while screaming indifferently. The host snake opened its mouth, with many people emerging from that deep cave. The leading expert was Xiao Lai, the most famous Grandmaster of the Heavenly Craftsman clan. He was their faith and pride. Grandmaster. Great teacher. Great teacher. When the members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan saw Xiao Lai, they screamed as if they were kids who had been bullied and finally saw their guardians. Some of them even started crying out. Please order, Master. Strangely, as soon as Xiao Lai appeared, he kneeled in the void while asking for an order from Zi Yarrow. Please order, Master. Accompanying him were Jiao Ni, Tian Xie, and many chiefs of the former God clan. Kill them. Zi Yarrow rose one finger, pointing at the warriors of the 4 clans while smilingly giving her order. Yes. Xiao Lai, Jiao Ni, and Tian Xie weren't hesitant. They turned into bold shooting lights, attacking the 4 clans. As the situation turned chaotic all of a sudden, Montesi was both glad and frightened. At the moment she thought she must die and had even given up, the situation was greatly changed. Zi Yarrow's incredible appearance had overturned her fate. Montesi now had a new life, which made her feel that she was just dreaming. Tam, you idiot. Attack them. Xiao Lai suddenly screamed. A moment ago, all the members of the Heavenly Craftsman clan were horror-struck, but now, under their Grandmaster's call, they became vigorous, leaping up into the sky and attacking the warriors of the 4 clans. You think you can overturn the situation alone? Do you think I would just stand and stare? Yuan Zu's voice arose from the crowd of the ancient monster clan. Seems like you got a lot of absolute beginning blood crystals to recover a bit. But, I think that I alone can subdue you. And, who else do you think can stop Serene Prison, Rupert, Edgar, and Beverly? Z Yarrow beamed faintly, throwing a meaningful look at the extinct volcano. Yuan Zu is here. Why do you still hide in there? Precursor Yuan Zu, what do you think about me? Can I stop Serene Prison? Han Tian's loud laughter arose from the volcano. Then, he brought Judy, Forefather Dragon Lizard, and the experts of the mysterious Sky Clan out of the volcano. Precursor Yuan Zu, how about me? Do you think I can beat Rupert up? Hero's cold and mocking voice came timely as he flew out of the extinct volcano along with Dracula, Gay, and many members of the Whitebone clan. It seemed that there was a space door that had teleported many peerless experts from different areas to this place. Hearing Han Tian and Hero, Yuan Zu, who had just shown himself from the formation of the ancient monster clan, turned dark and sinister. He knew that his plan, the one he had put a lot of efforts in, now had a big flaw. They couldn't control the development of this battle anymore. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.